that.
All right, guys, thank you guys all for coming. Everybody that RSVP'd, I just sent in your email a copy of the PDF of the slide deck that I'm showing today. So this way you guys can reference this video later on. That'll be on the Top Agent Happy Hour podcast Facebook page. I also have it up on YouTube, and you'll have the slide deck to reference later. Most of the class is going through listings to leads. So if you've never played around with it, you probably are going to need to play around with it some, but we're going to do both the slide deck and a little bit of workshop where we're actually putting an ad in from listings to lead and just creating a Facebook ad. I'll just do one of my listings today, unless you guys have a listing that you want to do and we can hook up your laptop. So how many people have actually logged in and used their listings to lead website? That's good, most of you guys. And how many of you guys have tried to run Facebook ads in the past? And how's the success been? So-so?
I used HomeSnap, and they ran it through Facebook. And in 1 month, I got 620 views.
Oh my God. Wow.
So for $200, at the time it was $200. So.
And what I'm trying to encourage here on this class, and there's nothing against those third-party platforms like HomeSnap or any of those places that are like do-it-all-for-you platforms, but I just got a text from an agent this morning that I'm friends with, and he said, hey, Dustin, can I meet with you to help me with Facebook ads? And I'm like, I'm doing a class right now. You can watch this, but the rest of my week is packed. And then he sent me a screenshot of the HomeSnap, and he said, what do you think about this? And I was like, I would not bother. You can do it, and you're going to get a few leads, but they're just taking what you can do for yourself. Instead of getting a lead for 15 cents to 30 cents a piece, they're going to be charging you $1 to $2 a click. And it's going to look good because their graphics are going to show something that you can easily screenshot and forward to your client and say, this is the type of exposure that you're getting. But my bigger objective is for you guys to grow your email sphere of influence very quickly, dramatically. When I started doing this about 2.5 years ago, I had 200 email addresses in my pipeline. Now I have 6,000. So then figuring out, how do you follow up with those people with good content? And we're going to talk a little bit about that towards the end. But for me personally, for those that you haven't met me, my name is Dustin Fox. I just hit my 4-year anniversary in the business. We're a husband and wife team, my wife Devin. We're about a $20 million a year agent. Hopefully we'll do better this year. So you probably could be getting advice from people that are doing even more business than we are right now, but most of those people, they're too busy to be giving any classes. So to kind of start it off, the reason why I do this, all of you guys, we're all suckers for like the shiny, bright object. Every marketer, every third-party company is coming to you guys saying, try this lead platform. And it's very hard not to get sucked into their sales pitches because we all want to believe in the easy way out. And this is something that if you guys just take between this class and maybe a couple hours of YouTube videos, like you really can dramatically change your business. And I just want you guys to stop giving these charlatans your money because you can do it yourself, and you should do it yourself. So why Facebook ads? Times have changed. $1 Million Real Estate Agent, the Keller Williams book, was last updated in 2004. Zillow didn't launch their Zestimate until 2006. Many of the models that have been tried and true are not cost effective anymore in terms of reaching out to as many people as possible. The majority of agents like myself, I'm not comfortable with cold calling. I'm definitely not comfortable with door knocking. I don't have that capability. In Zillow advertising, you're competing against 10 to 20 different agents, sometimes more in that specific zip code. Oftentimes, they have more reviews. Facebook, you tell your specific story and you can advertise your specific property to anyone you want. Reasons to use Facebook marketing: it's the largest available database of users, and you occasionally, if you're sitting down in a listing presentation and you're talking about what you're going to be doing for that seller for Facebook ads, they're going to say, oh, well, what about the people that aren't on Facebook? Well, 85% of the US is on Facebook. It's like something like that stat. I think like 30 to 40% are on Instagram. So there's going to be no other website, Zillow, Redfin, Realtor, that's going to have 85% of the population there. And the advantage that it is for your seller, and the way that I convey it to them, is if you have a listing in Vienna and somebody is shopping in Oakton, they're going on Zillow and they're putting 4+ bed, 3+ bath, under $1 million in Oakton. They're never going to see your house show up in the search results because they're looking for something specific. The advantage of the Facebook ads is you can go 10-mile radius and you can force this listing to be shown on potential buyers' Facebook walls. So you're getting people to see it that would never normally see their property. So that's the thing from a sincerity level that I love most about it, is it helps me provide amazing value to my clients. And they know this on a week-to-week basis. So kind of my unique selling proposition to all my sellers, and feel free to use it with your sellers, because the whole object of this class is to have our brokerage and any other agent out there provide more value to their client. I provide them every week from coming soon all the way till their property closes, new advertisements every single week. I transparently share them the data from the ad and transparently share with them the email addresses from the ad. And they'll be surprised and say, oh, that's just Julie down the street. Don't bother emailing her. She's just a busybody. But you really want to let them know. You never want a seller to think, you know, that voice in the back of your head, like, oh man, I don't want to call her this Monday. I don't really have any good news, or not a lot of people showed up to the open house. You always want to be a step ahead of everything with your listing and providing more value than anybody else will. They'll hold on to you forever, including through price adjustments if the market's just not there. If you can show them, like Zillow, you had 600 views in the past 30 days. The Facebook ad that I provided you this week had 2,120 clicks to your website, and here are the email addresses from that. Imagine the power of that for your client. You're not telling them like, sorry, it's the market, you need to reduce. You're saying like, I'm giving you this many views. You know, obviously the market is spoken. So what will Facebook not give you? Typically not immediate business. Every open house when people come in, I say, hey guys, come on in. You guys live in the neighborhood? I'm trying to size them up if they're a buyer or a seller. Anybody that lives in the neighborhood could potentially be listing their house in the near future. If they say they're a buyer, like maybe not immediately, but through the tour, I'll say, oh, so what website did you see the house? No one's going to say, oh, you targeted me on Facebook. They're typically going to say Zillow or Redfin. But it's interesting because they'll log in on Spacio on my iPad, and then later on I'll see that they were already registered in Boomtown from one of my Facebook ads. So they're not going to tell you that, but you're going to get more traffic into your open house by doing this. And then having it's just a nurturing business. It's like postcards. You're going to send one out. Somebody might do a property valuation, but they're not going to typically raise their hand and say, I want you to sell my house. The idea is you're getting them in your pipeline. You're going to be able to retarget them with every single listing going forward. So you may pay 30 cents to 50 cents for a specific ad to come in, that email address. But then when you do your sphere of influence retargeting ads that we'll get into, you're going to be able to hit them for much less expensive, because you're just going to be doing a reach ad with a custom audience, and they're going to be forced to see your ads every single week for every property. And that's when, you know, the omnipresence starts kicking in with them, like, man, this person's just crushing it. Like, all the time I see their listings. And that's really the power in the retargeting. Having your end goal in mind. What are you trying to accomplish? Brand awareness, open house traffic, buyer leads, seller leads, or just likes to your business page. This is just a table of contents that you guys can reference later. So a lot of this stuff, if you guys have done a Facebook ad, is not going to be really necessary for you, because you've maybe seen the one that I did a year and a half ago. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on some of these sections, but you guys are going to all have the PowerPoint PDF, so you can reference this back later with the video, so you can go back to a specific section. What you will need, all of you guys have a Facebook page, I'm sure. Everybody needs their listings to lead login. If you don't have that, look in your original orientation email from Whitney. She should have provided you that before everybody bombards Whitney with an email saying, can you send me the login for that? Just search your email and it should be in there, or put your email address in there and hit forgot password so you're going to be able to log in. A Facebook business page, you can't run targeted ads without a business page. Facebook Ads Manager, and if you want to do a like campaign, pretty much everything you need to do from Facebook, you're going to be able to do from Ads Manager, but if the only one that you really can't is a like campaign, you're going to want to download the Power Editor. So coming soon ads, this is probably the best ad that you're going to be able to run, because the advantage to a potential buyer is everybody wants what they think they can't have. So while it's coming soon, it's not in the MLS, you're going to have more people click on that ad than something that's live or that's been on the market for a while and it's something that they've been seeing. So this one specifically, who wants a palace without leaving Vienna? And then kind of a brief description. Normally on an ad, I will have the hyperlink in the ad copy so they can click on it. They can click on it here, or they can click learn more. But you want to have like both sections for them to be able to click on. Open house ads, increase your open house attendance and brand awareness to nearby sellers. One of the things that I like a lot is making it more of an event. I imagine like if I'm having people over at my house for a party or a kid's birthday party, I'm thinking about what am I serving, what am I doing? You're constantly being sized up by everybody that comes into that open house. So you want to think, how can I really be different than everybody else? So if you look at some of my ads, it'll typically say taco bar and whole fruit margaritas. You want to get something that you can duplicate. So I have a whole like taco setup that I've ordered off Amazon. That way I can kind of do the same thing with everyone. And when you drop the Facebook ad and you send a mailer out with enough notice and you're making it a personal invite, you start having people come in with your mailer and the Facebook ads and they're saying like, Dustin, I literally can't open my phone without seeing you, and then I get this mailer. Like people have literally come into my open house with Deb and I and just been like, oh, we gotta sell our house. Like this is insane, I've never seen anything like it. So that's what you're gonna want, that type of exposure for your clients. Just sold ads, I don't really run these much. They don't really get a lot of love and attention. I don't know why. Same with property valuation ads, which is the next page. I used to run these a lot and I was spinning my wheels a ton. You would get people to click on them and enter their address, but most of them, you know, when you look up in the tax record, they bought it like 6 months ago and they're wondering if they overpaid for it, or you start sending them CMAs regularly. You're like, you know, I'm gonna send this every single month and you're doing this for 12 months and nothing happens, and you just don't have the bandwidth to do that with that many people. So you really want to narrow it down to people that are actually looking to sell now. Sphere of influence ads. These are ones that you can do for the $1 a day to your, depending upon how big your email list. So for me, my email list is 6,000. So now I'm spending basically $50, $25 to $50 a week to have everybody in my sphere of influence to see those ads. But when your email database is smaller, you can spend, you know, $1 a day, $2 a day, and they're going to be forced to see your ads all the time. Where to start? You guys all have listings to leads here. I apologize in advance. Everybody here in this brokerage already gets listings to leads, so I just want to preface this because I've had multiple agents click on this trial link, and they're paying for listings to leads, and it's a service that they're already getting. This is more for anybody seeing this class online and considering using listings to leads to do their Facebook ads. So here is your listings to lead landing page link, and I'm going to kind of exit out of this really quick, and I'm going to show you guys actually from listings to leads and go in here and do an ad. So is there one that you guys specifically want to see? Is it open house? Is it coming soon? Like what would you guys prefer to see how I do it?
Coming soon.
Coming soon? Okay. Can everybody see the screen? Okay, so. So you're going to always start with the listing button on the top left of listings to leads. You can start here and say, I don't ever have to pull from the MLS because my listings, I have to manually enter every single one because I don't ever, every single listing I'm running ads for while they're coming soon. So even if it's a day of coming soon, even if it's 3 days, everybody has that client that's like, I need pictures next week. We got to get this thing rolling. You can start with a single exterior photo. It's fine. But you want to like manually input that listing in. So from this listing screen, you're going to hit add listing. And right here it says add listing or grab active listing. So if your listing's already active and it's not showing up on your listings to lead platform, you can hit grab active listing and it'll pull it in from the MLS with all the information already there, so you're not having to double input it. So you're going to enter all of this here. This is just all, this is where you're entering all the info every little bit. And the photos and videos section here, it's not letting me do that yet because I need to enter some info. So here's an example of a coming soon listing. You're going to make sure it says coming soon here. You're going to have the just listed date. You make sure all the information is correct here. And then on photos and video, like this is just one that I don't have professional photos for. They're doing a lot of remodeling inside. So I have just a single exterior shot that I'm running advertising for. And then on the 3D tour button, or video tour, you're going to be able to copy and paste your YouTube link. So when you do photography and your guy gives you the video link, you're going to have to manually input it into YouTube and then put that YouTube link there, and you want to make sure you click this autoplay button. So when they go from your ad page on Facebook, that video automatically starts playing. On advanced settings here, I don't like, I like forced registration. I take off the global settings from profile, and I take off forced registration and enable Facebook registration. The reason being is if you go to the task tab, and this is kind of where all the money is, when you use this link, the very first task on here, it says social media post and ads, your social media. So you click this tab here, and this landing page, you see where it says 1 day, 13 hours until live. That's obviously going to change because the renovations aren't done, so I'm going to have to move that date. But when you see this landing page link here, you're going to hit the eyeball. When somebody clicks your link from Facebook, it's going to take them to this page. And the value of this is nobody wants to, if you give them the option, and it's really small here, it says, or use your email instead. They'll just put in johndoe@johndoe.com. You know, they're just going to give you a fake lead. But when you make it really easy for them and they just hit connect with Facebook, it says thank you, and then it takes them to your single property website page. But that email address that's associated with their Facebook account will go directly to you. If you have a CRM, you can have it import automatically into your CRM, and because you're using it from Facebook, 9 times out of 10, you're going to be able to see their Facebook profile through your CRM. You can add them as a friend. That was one of the things that was hard for me in the beginning. Was I'm like, they're just clicking on my ad, and I was nervous about adding any of these people as friends. Now I'm like, I heard somebody on a podcast, it was like an old Zig Ziglar quote, like skinny salesmen or timid salesmen have skinny kids. So like, I'm just like, you know what, I'm putting myself out there. I'm not going to start spamming them with a bunch of listings already, but I'm going to just add them so they can see my profile pop up occasionally and see that I'm an agent that's doing business. So this landing page tool, you should only be doing that link when you're running Facebook ads, because that's the one that's going to force them to be able to see the link. They're going to have to connect with Facebook, and then you're going to get the email address.
Do you ever have issues with leads that come in through there? Because you still use Boomtown, right?
Mm-hmm.
CRM. I do too. Do you ever have issues with leads that come in through there not showing up with the source in your CRM? Like, I'll be okay for a period of time, then for a couple months it's weird, and I have to get them to fix something.
No, they typically say listings to leads, but because we're a large brokerage, what I do have a problem with occasionally is they'll come in to listings to leads, and I'll get the email, but they won't auto import to Boomtown because that email address is already associated with somebody else's. Like they already came in through another lead platform, and they're in somebody else's Boomtown, which is fine. I mean, these leads don't overthink it, because you're going to get them from anywhere from 11 cents to 50 cents a piece. So like if it's in somebody else's, I would not even bother. If it was like a Zillow lead that you're paying $500 for, like that would be like a conversation that you're going to have. But on these, you're going to be getting so many of them, I wouldn't even bother. Yes?
I was going to say, that would only affect people that have been on the ESR leads team.
Correct.
Anybody else would be on a completely separate package that might have crossover.
Yeah, for paying for your own boomtown, you don't have that issue.
Correct. Yeah. And then if you guys, when you're going to post your coming soon listings on all the local realtor forums and the Pearson Smith forum, you obviously don't want a lot of agents' email addresses, and you don't want them in your pipeline and seeing what you're doing or paying for that. So when you're posting it on like the coming soon forum or Fairfax County Realtor forum, any of those, you want to just click here, single property website from the task tab, and that'll just go here. And that way they can see all the property details without having to log in and subscribe and give you their email address. So that's kind of like the first tool. Now from this website here, from listings to leads, you're gonna take this link, and it's really ugly. I hate this link. It says like search all properties / information / a bunch of numbers, and I'm like, ugh. You know, you can easily buy a vanity link like 123mainstreet.com on GoDaddy and have this link forward to that, so it automatically goes. But for me, I don't want to pay that for every single listing, so I will just go to bit.ly.com and I will hit create here at the top and paste that link there and hit create, and then copy and paste that link. So now I have everything I need to actually run the Facebook ad. So from here, I'm sorry for all my open tabs. Hold on. While you're in here, you're going to want to go ahead and copy and paste your listing description. So listing information, copy and paste this so you have it for your Facebook ad. If you guys don't have if you have a business page already, great. If you don't, it's really easy. Just Google Facebook business page to start one. You want to make sure you're compliant with your brokerage. It should say your name and then your brokerage. You never know, like you could have a listing and some buyer's agent didn't win their offer and then like try to report you for compliance. So you just want to kind of be on top of that stuff. So once you have Ads Manager, it should show up over here in your shortcuts. So you can go to Ads Manager, and what you heard probably the last class where the woman was doing social media training, and she said, don't boost a ad. You're just kind of wasting your money. It's not a complete waste. If you don't have time and you already did a post, you can hit boost, and you're going to get leads from it. It's just you have better targeting objectives through Ads Manager than you do through a boosted post. And a boosted post is typically automatically set to go to the people that already know and like you, that are going to engage with your ad, versus new buyers that are going to actually register on your website. So these are kind of some of the ads that I'm running here. I have multiple pages. So you're going to start from the Ads Manager page here and hit create. Start over. All right, so these are all the objectives. So you have brand awareness, reach. Those are typically going to be used for when you just want to show your seller, like I'm putting your ad in front of the most people as possible. My objective is not to get email addresses. And I will switch objectives sometimes. I will go 1 week, I'll do traffic and show them the email addresses that are coming in. And another week where I have an open house and I'm just trying to drive attendance, I'll use the reach objective and get as many people to look at it as possible. If any of you guys heard my podcast, the book podcast yesterday with Richard, or 2 days ago, and I talk about the influence persuasion book and the social proof. If you do reach as your first ad objective, and you just are trying to get it in front of as many people as possible, and you get a lot of likes and comments from that, then you can take that post later on, that post ID, and I'll show you how to do that later. And you can use the old dark post and do an engagement post to try to, you know how you see some marketers and they're trying to hit you with a bunch of like, you know, buy my Facebook course, and it has like 800 comments and like 1,000 likes. They're reusing those likes in that post for social proof, and you could do the same thing with your listing. But if you're just trying to get in front of as many people as possible, reach is going to be your objective. If you're trying to get actual email addresses for your clients, and so every time you have an open house, or when if you're coming soon and you're going to have photos coming up, and when you have photos, you're going to email everybody that has already registered on the site, or if you have a price adjustment, you want to be able to email everybody that's clicked on it. Typically, 9 times out of 10, my objective on Facebook is going to be traffic. So then you would say, you would name it Kwood, coming soon, hit continue. In terms of audience, you want to save all of your audience, but I'll just show you from the beginning here. I'm going to just type in Kwood Lane, Silver Spring, Maryland. So it's going to automatically go to 10 miles. So we used to, I missed Facebook like 6 months ago, because when I would send out my mailer to an open house to like 250 or 500 people, I would also do 5 separate ads for $10 a piece, but only do a pin in a 1 mile radius. And it was literally like, they couldn't go on anything, even an app on their phone that was not even Facebook, because like Facebook sells advertising to third-party apps too. They would read an article on Facebook and your ad would pop up, and it was just really like bombarding them. Now Facebook said, because of this HUD lawsuit, they're making it a minimum. There's some discussion if it's 10 miles or 15 miles, but right now Facebook is approving it at 10 miles. In the long run, it doesn't really matter, because what I was saying to you guys in the beginning, that your objective is to get this in front of as many people as possible, and people move cities all the time. So the advantage for your client is, if they weren't originally looking in, you know, Vienna, they were looking in Oakton, now they're gonna see your ad because it's a further radius. And you can go further if you want, you know, especially if you're in a higher price point listing, you're gonna have people that are gonna be moving around in different locations. So you could easily change this to 25 miles. I always say, change this from everyone in this location to everyone who live in this location. And the reason being is, I don't want somebody that's driving from Harper's Ferry to DC on the commute, and because they're stuck in traffic, they get hit with your Facebook ad. I want to target people that are actually living here, because you have a better chance of getting somebody that's actually selling also. The age here, you cannot touch. So most of the agents that I've helped with Facebook ads, they come to me and say, Dustin, I went to your class and my ad account got shut down. Like, I literally can't even do a business account anymore. I'm like, okay, let's meet for coffee. I log into their laptop and I see like the ethnicity has changed to Indian, and they were like, or like the ad was 30 plus because it was like $1 million home, and I'm like, you can't do that from a fair housing standpoint. And Facebook is really cracking down on that now. Before, they would just allow you to do it, and then once they had the lawsuit, they were just shutting down accounts that were doing it. So you're better off just never touching that. You're not going to change gender, you're not going to change language, you're not going to change age. In terms of detail targeting, I will hit exclude here and say recently moved, because they're no good to you. I don't know what their algorithm is and how long is recent, if it's a year, 6 months, or longer. And then this is another really important thing. So there's so many, and you should screenshot this as you type everything in. You're going to type in job title, real estate broker, real estate agent. There's a million of them that you can type in. You really want to think of every brokerage you can. Keller Williams, Remax, Century 21, Long and Foster, Keller Williams, Sotheby's, Coldwell Banker, Berkshire Hathaway. Put them all, once you type them all in, and make sure you don't pick likes, just pick employers. Because you don't want nosy agents just clicking on your ads and you getting charged 50 cents because they're like, hey, I want to see what Dustin's doing. You just want to exclude all of those people. And some agents say like, well, I want them to see this because then they could possibly introduce it to their client. Like, their clients are looking at this stuff online anyways. So I would not even bother. Once you have all of your detailed targeting in, you're gonna hit Save Audience, and you're gonna name it here. I'll say Kaywood coming soon. That way, every time you run an ad for this, you don't have to enter in every single brokerage over and over and over again. You're gonna go up here when you're starting an ad that has a saved audience. You can just say use save audience and drop down that actual listing address. Now this is a lot what I've learned from the original class that I did a year and a half ago, because I just assumed that when it says automatic placements recommended, that's what I should do because Facebook is saying like, hey, we recommend you doing this. So there's only so much advertising space on the mobile news feed. Like when you're flipping through just the regular Facebook feed. What Facebook wants you to do is say, we wanted you to advertise everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, the little right-hand column where all those little things are. They want your money everywhere because there's only so much space. So they want you to spread it across everywhere so they can say later on, well, we gave you this many impressions. But not all impressions are equal. If you're on the mobile news feed, that's more valuable than one of those little right-hand column ads or in the middle of an article. So I always hit edit placements here, and then it's gonna pull up all devices recommended. I don't even bother with desktop because I have split tested all devices, both desktop and mobile. I do mobile only. So you're gonna click here and click off a desktop. So the most valuable and best bang for your buck is the mobile news feed. And until it gets too expensive, I would personally advise you guys to do that. If you're gonna advertise on Instagram, you're better off doing an Instagram post natively through Instagram and then advertising directly through the Instagram app. That's just me personally. So I'm gonna click off Messenger, I'm gonna click off Instagram, I'm gonna click off Audience Network, and I'm gonna say only the news feed. So this is saying at $20 a day, you're gonna have like 1,600 to 4,700 like views for $20 a day. Now, you guys know, when you guys go on your mobile news feed, what are typically the first things that you guys see? What type of posts? Nobody?
Kids' shoes.
Kid stuff, your friend getting engaged. Facebook's algorithm wants the content that you're seeing to be something that interests you. So if you're telling Facebook, I'm gonna do $20 a day until I turn it off, they have a relevancy score. So Facebook does not want your annoying post going in the same audience day after day after day after day, because what they do is they'll still take your money, but your relevancy score will go down, and the ads that were costing you 20 cents last week are gonna be costing you $2 a click today because they're gonna say, my audience doesn't care about this. So what I advise, and you guys know when you go to somebody's business page, like another agent's, now they have the ability, because they're trying to be more transparent, you have the ability to go on there, and on the left-hand column, it says info and ads. So you can see what everybody's doing. You can see the ads that I'm running. You can see what the ads that anybody's running. But if you look at my ads, you're not typically going to see anything because I run my ads for such a short period of time. Because Facebook is gonna say, you're only getting 50 bucks for me, and I'm only asking you to run these for like 5 hours. So it's going to shove it like on everybody's wall because they're like, we only have a limited of time to get this in front of everybody, and you're gonna get more exposure in a short amount of time than you will exposure over a long period of time. What was your question?
I was just gonna say, they messed me up because they recently changed it a week or two ago. It's now tucked away on the bottom right of the pages.
Correct, yeah, they try to hide it here. So like I'm gonna change it from daily budget to lifetime, and I've split tested everything, guys. I've done daytime only, I've done weeknight only, because I figured weeknights are probably when people are going to click on this. I picture it like the way my wife is in bed as we're going to bed, and they say, like all the sleep studies, don't look at your blue screen, but nobody's doing it. We're all on our phones right before we go to sleep. Or, you know, she has a routine where she gets out of the shower, she's got a robe on, and she looks at Facebook for a few more minutes. So like mornings or nights, I thought like that would be the best time. And I figured weekdays, because people are probably going like out for drinks with their friends on the weekends, and they're probably not clicking on the ads. But I was completely wrong, and the only way that you're going to know these things is by split testing them. So if you look at my page, you're typically going to see ads running on Saturday nights and Sunday nights, because that's when I have the lowest cost per acquisition. So if I have a Sunday open house, I'm not obviously going to be running it for that Sunday night. I'm going to be running it Friday, Saturday. But Sunday performs the best, Saturday second best, Friday third best, and then Monday through Thursday it's kind of like a crapshoot of which day. But think about it, since you're doing something local, and this sounds really stupid, but if you're doing a local ad and you can check the 7-day forecast, you know you have an open house on Sunday, and it's 100% chance of heavy storms on Thursday night, nobody's going to be doing anything. They're going to be sitting at home because it's raining. They're not going to feel like doing anything. And you can say, if I know it's going to have a 100% chance to rain from 6 to midnight, then I'm going to do my entire ad spend that night. And you're going to see the ads cost like 8-9 cents because you're thinking that deeply on it. So for here, I'm going to say Sunday, I'm going to change this to 6 p.m. I mean, really, the later you go, 7 p.m. is even better. People are eating dinner. And then I'm going to say, it automatically, when you change anything here, and you have to be careful, as soon as you change the date, it automatically goes to $350. So if you're not paying attention and you had $20 in there before, Facebook will take your money gladly. So, and it will also try to steer you into a month-long budget. They want you to spend a lot of money, and they want you to spread it out over a long period of time, because they want to be able to put your ad randomly in places, but that's not necessarily going to be good for your open house or good for your coming soon. So the shorter the better. You're going to go here. I'm doing the same day. Occasionally I'll do Saturday night and Sunday night. Normally I'll do that unless it's an open house that weekend. And then I'm typically going to spend $50 to $100 an ad. You're probably going to get for $50 to $100, if your ad is well written, you're typically going to get anywhere from 10 to 30 ads or email addresses for that. And you'll see it start to snowball when you start getting 4 listings and then 6 listings and 8 listings, and you're running advertisements for all these. Suddenly the snowball starts getting rolling, and you're getting 150, 200 leads every single week, and you're adding those to your database, and then you start to have random people just raise their hand that you've never met, and they're like, hey, I'm getting your bomb videos about this property. I'm thinking about selling my house. I really like the way, you don't know me, but I feel like I know you. I'm thinking about listing my house. So you're gonna go here and do 11:59 p.m. And if you're doing multiple days, say you're doing Saturday and Sunday, which I do a lot, you're gonna hit run ads on schedule, and then you're gonna say 7 p.m. or 8 p.m. to midnight. That's where you're gonna have the best bang for your buck, and typically, Saturday and Sunday nights, like I said before. But if you're spreading it out through any times, your cost, you'll see it, and split test it. Run one ad that's all times, and then run another ad, same exact copy, same audience, same everything, and try one that's just 8 to 11:59 p.m. 9 times out of 10, that nighttime post will perform better than another one. I'm giving you guys all my secrets. So, and then single image ad. This is where you're going to do your Facebook page. I'm obviously not going to do it from my podcast. I do it here from Devin and I's. Here you're going to enter in. Because I copied and pasted that listing description. If you guys have a Mac, I'm sure it has a window too. There's a great little app that's called. If you type in copy and paste clipboard, you can, this little clip that you have at the top, it'll save the last like 10 to 20 copies and paste that you had. How many times are you like switching screens to go back and copy something and go back and forth? It's like really handy. So I'm gonna say, take the bit.ly link that I had here, and I'm gonna put it into the website URL. It's gonna auto put in here the listens to lead ad, and it has the banner. So Scott Pierce, the guy that runs Listens to Leads, he obviously wants it to be consistent and he wants it to look a certain way. I have split tested these with the banner, without the banner, everything. And the banner never performs as well as if you just put a regular image in there. So we're gonna go up here into image. We're gonna browse images here that I've recently used. Do this guy. Because people don't want, when you have that banner there, you're basically telling everybody this is an advertisement. Nobody wants to read an advertisement. People read what they want to read, and sometimes that's an advertisement. So just try to make it not look like an ad as much as possible. So we're going to click out off of this. We're going to have this photo up. And then we're going to say, we're going to take this language that I had from the listing. And I talk to my clients about this all the time. Because if you look at my ads, you're going to say like, oh my God, Dustin is writing a book. And why does he have his full listing description in there? Why does he have all of this stuff in there? I've split tested everything. I run ads every single week, and every time I run an ad, I'm A/B split testing something. So if I'm gonna spend $50 on my listing that week, I'm gonna do $25 on one version, and I'm gonna change $25 off of something else. And that's how you progressively over time make things more and more persuasive, because you see what your audience likes to see. And I assumed, from a marketing perspective, and like what your English teacher taught you in college, is like brevity is beauty. So all the other real estate agents out there, they're all doing like, coming soon, Arlington, 4+ bed, 3+ bath, completely remodeled, it's beautiful, here's the link, click on it. But what you're telling the audience is you're telling them everything. Or they'll put the address in the ad. Your objective from your Facebook ad is to have no objections in there. I don't want the city, I don't want how many bedrooms, I don't want, I want somebody to read that and only be things that would make everybody happy. Like, oh, it has a movie theater. Oh, it has this benefit, this benefit, this benefit, this benefit. The more things you give them, like 4+ bed, 3+ bath, Oakton, they're gonna say, well, I was looking for 5+ bed in Vienna. I'm not gonna click on that. So you wanna leave all of that out. Your entire objective is to get them to click the ad and get in your pipeline. So I'll say, the headline is the most important part of the ad. So your headline should spark some type of curiosity. My favorite headline, and I don't want everybody using this all at the same time, and this sounds so elementary and so stupid, but if you look at my ads, almost all of them will either say, have an if-then headline, or they'll say imagine. So imagine living in this remodeled Clifton home. And it sounds so stupid, but you can't read the word imagine without actually imagining something. And it's just a curiosity-based headline. So if I say, you know, imagine living in this completely remodeled Silver Spring home, and then I have, let me just type that in. So just like any other advertising, the first sentence should get them saying yes, yes immediately, or curiosity based, and your next sentence should get them to read the third sentence. And I have agents that say, Dustin, how long is too long for a Facebook ad? Like, there is no length. That's why when you sit down for a listing appointment, you tell your clients, I want every single capital improvement. I don't care if it's the gutters. I want you to list everything, the year that it was done, and the estimated cost. Because at the bottom of this, you can see here, capital improvements. I want this ad to scream like, this is a well-maintained home. Like, this is somebody that's obviously painstakingly taking care of their stuff, and that's what I want their focus to be. No one's gonna say like, oh, they did too much stuff to their house, I don't wanna see that house. Yes?
So you just mentioned that you don't want to have anything in terms of price or even the city, but here in the first sentence you say Silver Spring.
Well, yeah, and this is just an example. You don't have to use Silver Spring. You can say, imagine living in this Silver Spring home. There's different opinions on this. So if you want to be able, I personally don't, when I get a lead come in, I don't start sending them other houses, like through Boomtown or any other CRMs. Like, I don't start sending them Silver Spring houses because I leave that out. If you want to narrow your buyer lead down, they're going to go from like 11 to 30 cents to like 50 to 75 cents by putting Silver Spring. But at least you'll know they're interested in Silver Spring houses, and you can start sending them listings in Silver Spring. I'm more of like a Seth Godin type, where I believe in permission marketing, which is really ironic that I'm like retargeting them constantly. But I just don't want to start spamming them with listings that I don't know if they want. I prefer getting them into my pipeline and then using like a content-based marketing that they get an email from me every couple weeks that says like, 6 ways to sell your house for top dollar this summer, something along those lines. I'm losing a lot of money in my business because I know other agents are immediately getting them in their Boomtown pipeline and getting them shopping on the site and getting them. It's just, for me personally, it's not what I want to do. And part of it is like, from a sincerity standpoint, is your clients will share your Facebook ad when they see it, and then their friends and family are gonna click on it, and you're not gonna know that they're their friends and family, and they're gonna say, one of them's one day gonna say, why is your agent like trying to sell me these other houses? So just keep that in mind as I want every single person that come into my pipeline, I want them to know from the time they come in coming soon until the time it's just sold, that the only thing I'm trying to sell them is my client's house. So what they typically get from me is the first coming soon email is gonna say, the enthusiasm is a big deal if you're doing a bomb video or just a written email, like how excited you are about the house. I always make the client, make them the star. I say, they put in a ton of work. They're really excited to show this house off. You start naming everything that they've done, even though it's already in your ad copy, and say, I'd love to have you be the first one to sneak in. I'm actually showing it to another couple on Sunday, but if you want to see it Friday before them or just join us on Sunday, let me know. Make it very brief, and then they're going to get that first email. When they come into your CRM, you should tag them under that property address, because otherwise you're going back and emailing every lead individually. And when it starts to snowball and you're getting 50 to 100 leads a week, you're not going to have time to email them all individually. So you're going to tag them under that property address, and then when you get the photos, the professional photos come in, that's another reason to contact them. Hey, we just got the professional photos, they look great, let us know if you'd like to see it. Open house is the next time to see it. When I get my first offer, I email them to say, hey, we just got an offer in hand. If you haven't been able to see the house, we're going to respond by 6 p.m. tomorrow. Let me know if you'd like us to sneak in. Make sure you pull up the tags and you're not sending it to the buyer that came into the open house. That's embarrassing. And then when it's just sold, you can say, thank you for your previous interest, whether it's Facebook or an open house. We're really happy for our clients. The house sold for above $5,000 above ask. If this was not the right property for you, just let me know what is, and I promise you I'll do everything I can to find you the perfect house. And then they're just getting my content from then on. I'm not sending them properties if they don't reach out. So it's probably a wasted opportunity, yes, but it's just like my own personal feelings on it. So after this, you're going to say, for price, address, photos, or schedule a private showing. Go here or click here, and then you're going to put that bit.ly link. Another thing that I see agents doing, they just assume because everybody else is doing it, they make emojis all over their ads, like everywhere. You see more emojis in advertising than you do in people's regular posts. So I've split tested with a lot of emojis, with minor emojis, with no emojis, and no emojis wins on a split testing standpoint every single time. So don't assume because you see everybody else doing something that that's the right way to do it. You're screaming like, hey, this is an advertisement. Yes, Mikey.
Hannah.
What's that?
I had a question from somebody from before.
Uh-huh.
If that's okay. You mentioned doing your split testing. I know Facebook will try to do it for you. Do you separately just literally create 2 different campaigns and watch them yourself?
I do. I rarely do the Facebook A/B split test from the beginning, because they'll tell you which one is winning early, and then they'll kind of close the dollar spend off and have the other one continue. I prefer to make every single individual ad. So if you have the time and the patience to do it, if you have a listing going live that weekend, rather than split test 2 different headlines, 5 $10 ads will give you more views than one $50 ad. But it takes the time and the patience to make those. Because Facebook doesn't know, they don't have somebody there looking at it. They don't know that it's the same thing, basically. You could do the same ad, 5 different ones, and that'll be more views than just a single $50 ad, because it thinks it's new content.
And do you shut them off at one point and choose one?
No, I let them run because I'm only letting them run, and I'll show you a good example here. You know how when you have your photographer come in and they have like 5 different front-facing shots of the house. I've split tested, like some agents will do like the shot where it's like 4 photos and it's like cut in half as the first one. I've split tested that. I've split tested everything. When I have a coming soon photo, I share with my client, I'll run every front-facing photo for them, and I'll show them like, look, this is the front photo that got the most click. I spend $10 for one night, all the same audience from 8 p.m. to 11:59, and I share with them the results before I put it forward and say, this is why this photo's got the most clicks. You just let the public decide. And it'll be a dramatic difference. One will have like 30 clicks, and the other one will have 11, and it's rarely the one that you think looks the best. So that's kind of the power in it, is when you start sharing those level of details with your client, they're gonna say, holy crap, like this person is like on their game. Like they're not just telling me like what's working. And they're not gonna go back to you later on and say like, hey, do you think we should like move the pictures around and like give it a fresh look? And you're like, no, the proof is in the pudding. Like this is what the public likes the most. So we need to like keep it that way. So you're gonna have this. I like Learn More. I really hate this search all properties thing here. So if you go down low, and this is just a personal preference, you can change the display link to match the bit.ly. You can buy your own bit.ly thing. So like if you put an Apple link or an Amazon link, it'll say Amazon Mini, like a little mini link instead of bit.ly, but that costs money, and I'm not going to do that. You're going to want to take the headline that's up here, even though it says Silver Spring. You're going to take this here and then put it in your headline. And coming soon, you can say, you know, right below this, you can say coming soon, not in the MLS there. So when they click Learn More, it's going to take them to this page. So they're scrolling through their Facebook page, they see Learn More, and it's going to take them to this page. They hit Continue with Facebook. And if you guys are in a listing presentation with the seller, and you already have a single exterior shot of their house. I don't get creepy, I don't go in their house and their yard or anything, but I will take a drone shot from the street, and I will already have their entire ad campaign already made before I even go into the listing appointment. So when I turn the iPad to them, and I say, like, this is the targeting that I'm gonna do, and they hit, I say, go ahead and hit that Connect with Facebook button, and then they hear my phone go off, and then I turn my phone and show them, and I just say, scroll through here and see all the leads that I've gotten the last few days. And I'm like, every one of these is the email address that's associated with their Facebook account. Because if you tell a seller, I'm running Facebook ads for you, especially if they're 55 plus, they're gonna say, oh, you're just putting your Facebook ad and sharing it with your friends. You have to show them. As soon as they see it with their connection, the light bulb goes off. And if you're in a multiple competition listing appointment and the next person, you know, is just saying they're running Facebook ads, or like, hey, what are you doing for your coming soon marketing? And they say, oh, because I'll ask sellers, I'm like, why did you choose me over like the neighborhood expert? And let's say I asked him what he was doing for coming soon, and he said he's just like gonna go on the realtor forums and let the people know in his office. But when you turn this to them and they hit click, and they see all those email addresses that are coming in for all of your ads and how you can respond to them. And I have I have the whole campaign spread out. I say, week 1, we're gonna be doing this. Week 2, I'm gonna be doing a reach ad with your video, but it's gonna be exterior only. I just wanna spark curiosity, and it's gonna be video views or reach only, because anybody that saw that video, I'm going to retarget them later on when we have the interior photos or when we go live. I'm gonna retarget that whole group and do this. So I'll screenshot when I'm making my ad here, and in my marketing book, you know, I'll screenshot this and I'll lay out their entire ad campaign for them. So it's tough to beat, you know, when you guys are there head to head and you know what you're doing. So that's how you run the ad. Yes.
So when you're doing that at a listing presentation, you have a live ad of their property on Facebook?
Well, I have just a single exterior shot from listings to lead with a listing description. So they're just gonna see this. I'm gonna show them, when they open up the binder, I'm old fashioned, I don't do the PowerPoint. I want them to have something to be left with. So Devin makes a binder. She has one binder for them that's exactly the same as the binder for us. So we're flipping through it together. And when they get to the Facebook ad page with all their campaigns, I talk to them about the headlines and why they work and the curiosity-based part of it. And they're like, oh yeah, you know, if I read that, I would click on it too. And I'm like, you may already have, because you're in my system. You say, when they click this Learn More button or this, it will take them to this page. And then I Devin already has the iPad ready. She turns the iPad to them and they say, go ahead and click this, because this is what it's gonna look like when you click Facebook. And then it goes off, and then I show them like my email address from my phone. They're not logged into my Facebook or anything, so I don't have theirs. But I show them this and I said, scroll through here, you can see the ads that I'm running here. And then they can see that this is not like some like BS sales thing. This is stuff that I'm actually doing. So
how much of your listing presentation are you spending on talking about Facebook?
Not long, probably like 10 or 15, like 10, 15 minutes.
A quarter of the time you're there?
No. Like, my listing presentations are long because if you guys can tell, I'm long-winded, and I basically hold them for ransom. Devin has literally, in a listing presentation, like clippered my mouth up because like I won't realize I'm talking over somebody, and she's just kind of balances me. But I get going, and I'm passionate about what I'm doing, so I'm trying to like share that passion with them, and they always can feel it. They can always tell, and from a transparency standpoint, I can tell them that you're never going to wonder like what I'm doing to sell your house, because every single Monday, whether it's good news or bad news, I'm going to be delivering you the new advertisements that I'm running for your house, and I'm going to be sharing with you the results of those advertisements. So, and these people will stick by you through everything, because if you just deliver what you promise, Mondays are a bitch for me. I spend the entire day just like thinking of new Facebook ads and coming up with the data and comparing it. But when you're saying to your seller, you know, this week you got 600 views on Zillow, I gave you 5,000 and this many email addresses, like they know that you're doing everything you can and you're sharing with them the new ad copy. So that's the frustrating thing for me, is like, this is all what I have to do. So if you guys listen to the podcast, you'll see me in one of them, like the video one, I have an index card shoebox where I literally have, as I think of ads, or if I go through headline books, I'm like, ooh, I can easily make that about a house. I can easily make that. And then you just start split testing different headlines, seeing what works, seeing what doesn't, and you file them away. When you start running these over time, you don't really have to think about it anymore, because you know which headlines work and which ones don't. Or just copy mine. So here you would hit confirm, and that's how you get them in the pipeline. So I will tell you, and you'll see it in the slide deck later on, that static photo ads will outperform video ads 75% of the time. And I pay a lot of money to have these like lifestyle drone videos, my kid swinging on the set, or my kid fishing, or my kid swimming. and you know, the shot is amazing, and I'm thinking, I'm only going to have this exterior because if the exterior looks this good with a really good description, it's going to be curiosity sparking, and they're going to want to click the ad and go into it. But the static photo still beats that lifestyle video. The only thing good about it is if you run that video ad and you do a reach objective or a video views objective, you're going to be able to retarget them, the people that have watched like 10 seconds or more, 15 seconds or more, and you can target them from a traffic ad perspective with the interior photos or a static photo later on. But you know, the clients love those videos, and it really does paint it in a really good light. So I encourage you guys to do it. No, the biggest mistake I see a lot of agents do is they cut corners on cost. They don't want to spend a lot of money on this. Every single listing you do is a reflection on who you are as an agent. So if you're not doing high quality photos, high quality video, you have to. Because buyers are not going to tell you, you know what, I'm not going to use you because your photos don't look that good. They're passive aggressive. They're just going to tell you, oh, we went with somebody else. You know, that's all they're going to say. So it's a reflection on you. Make sure you're doing the best quality possible, and it'll start to add up over time. Any questions before I go back to the PowerPoint?
How are you capturing or doing the retarget on reach into engagement?
Yeah, I'll show you. So from here, you're going to go Ads Manager, and you're going to go Audiences. We'll say leave this page. I don't need to finish that ad. So you can see here, some of these say video views, retarget, this retarget. So I'm going to say create an audience, and we're going to say custom audience. And we're going to say, let's say video source. So you're going to say choose engagement, people who have viewed at least 3 seconds of a video, 10 seconds of a video, 25% of your video. So we'll say 10 seconds of a video, and we'll say in the past 365 days, you can say video retargeting, and then you're going to say browse. Oh, whoops. Find the actual video here. Haven't done this in a while.
You can select choose video.
What's that?
You can select choose video.
Yeah, where do you see that? I don't know.
Drop down where you said 10 seconds. It's blue icon.
Oh, yep, thank you. So here you can say like which videos you want. Oh, look at that. I already have my thing up there. So we'll go out of this. We'll say like not incoming calls. We'll say my Facebook page. We'll say Union Mill. It's got 5,000 views on that video. So we'll say confirm, and then we can create that audience. It'll take probably like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So out of those 5,000 views, they count a view as like, is it just being watched for like 2 seconds? So it says below 1,000, but you're still narrowing it down to people that have watched 10 seconds or more of this, and then you can retarget them. And you could do that as a complementary ad to a traffic ad. So you can have multiples. You're not going to need to spend as much on this because it's only 1,000 people. So you can spend $10 on that and retarget all the people that you've already seen. And that's what you can see, like high-level marketers, real estate agents like Carrie Shaw, other agents. If you click on one of her things, you're going to see her ads every single day. And that's kind of like the omnipresence that you want with these sellers and these potential buyers. You're just like, you know, they see your stuff all the time. And that's the ultimate goal. Anything else before I go back to the PowerPoint? No? Okay. So this is kind of a lot of the stuff we just covered, so I'm going to kind of click through here. Adding listing. You guys are just going to have to play around with this. Actually inputting the listing if it's coming soon. You're not going to be able to import it from Zillow. At least I don't think you can. I just want to get to, when you get a listings to lead email, if you're not spending a ton of money on ads and you have the time to do this. So when you get an ad, it'll say, like this says Dustin Fox, it has the email address. This is the listings to lead email that you get. If you're having it auto importing into Boomtown or your own CRM, you'll get your auto import from your CRM email, and you'll get an auto import email from Listings to Leads. This one here, the advantage of this is when you click on this right here, this IP address, it'll tell you where they clicked the ad at. So it'll say Dustin Fox, Centerville. Then you can go into the tax record and type in Fox, anybody in Centerville, and then you have their home address, and then you can start a mail campaign with them as well. Because there's a lot of like Bob Jones out there. I don't even bother with that. If there's like 5 or 6 Bob Jones, unless I have their Facebook icon and I can click and see who it actually is, I don't even bother. But I have my daughters on the back end look them up in the tax record, and yeah, it's probably not compliant.
A little creepy.
Yeah. Well, she knows everything. She's like, I know where my teachers live. But she'll look them up in the tax record, and then that's one thing I will do. I don't want to drip them. I hate that word. I don't want to send them a bunch of properties. But when they look them up in the tax record and they see like, oh, they live in Virginia Run in Centerville, they'll put them up on a once a month recent Virginia Run home sales in your neighborhood, and it'll say dash Devin and Dustin Fox, Pearson Smith Realty. And you just get them seeing like, oh, I'm just giving you what's selling in your neighborhood so you can keep an eye on it. But that takes a lot of time to go in and click on that IP address, look them up in the tax record, add them, and when you start running a lot of Facebook ads, you're not gonna have time to do that consistently. At least I was able to early, and now I'm having a hard time just getting my daughters to do that anymore. They moved on to editing my podcast. So you can see here, it says in Centerville, and you can see that, and then you can look up the last name in that city and see what their home address is, and you can start marketing to them that way, whether it's actual mailing pieces. But most of these people are just curious. They're just sitting in their bed, and they're just clicking on your ad, and they're not ready to buy or sell a house yet. So like, don't start sending them like CMAs like every single month, thinking that because they clicked your ad, they're about ready to sell their house. If you do, and you get a listing, it's probably just gonna be blind luck. You're not gonna have time to do that with hundreds and thousands of people. It's just not possible. You hire somebody to do it. This is how to create a Facebook business page. This is an example of an open house. This is another really good headline, guys. It's called, like in marketing, it's called the if-then headline. It says, if you want privacy for your loved ones, you can't say family, obviously, for fair housing, so I say loved ones. I don't know if that's Chris Boris compliant, but everybody has people they love. If you want privacy for your loved ones, then you will want to see this remodeled home. It's just, for some reason, like the if and then sounds better than you telling, it sounds less salesy. And that's another good high-performing headline. And you guys all have these in your the PDF that I've sent you guys. Did everybody leave me a review on the podcast page on iTunes? Because it seems like I got like 10 of them. I know you guys all will. You're all from a very sincere place. Thank you guys to everybody that did. So this is just Facebook Ads Manager. This talks about the different ad objectives. So again, brand awareness, great for touching and reminding your sphere. So if you're doing a retargeting campaign to like my 6,000 email addresses, I will typically use brand awareness or just reach. I'm not trying to get them to take action or click on them because I already have their email. I just want to get my ad constantly in front of them. Same with reach. Traffic is when your main objective is to get them off of Facebook and to click on your ad and get their email address. And video views, I typically get more people seeing it with the reach objective than video views, but if you want to retarget based on video views, then you're going to want to spend a little bit of money on just a video view ad, especially if you have a really good property video. Just know if it's an interior property video or a interior property video, you're showing all your cards. Like they already know everything what the house looks like, so they've already decided if they like the house or not. You're not going to get their email address at that point if you're including that all the way up. It's better to just do exterior or ask your photographer, can you get me a 15-second or a less than 60-second teaser video that's not giving them everything, but if the kitchen's really nice, like the kitchen, the exterior, only things that everybody would like, and then you can tease the ad like that, you'll get some people that will click on it. But if you run video views, don't get upset when you only get like 2 leads and email addresses, because Facebook has an algorithm and says like, these are the people that are more likely to click on your ads, that click on things on Facebook, and there's just not a lot of them. And when you start running ads over and over and over again, I have people that have clicked on every single property ad that I've ever done. I mean, I have them tagged, and it's like there's like 20 tags under all the properties. I can't believe they haven't unsubscribed, because I've sent them like emails throughout the process on every single listing I have. I know they're just like looky-loos, but
I was gonna say, I can't believe they haven't bought yet.
right. This is kind of getting into the targeting. It's got to be 10 miles now. Before, you used to be able to do likely to move, income, homeowners only, and the power of that was really powerful, because if you could say, they used to have home value. So if you really, like, I was trying to go after luxury houses, like I wanted to get into that space. So before, I could say, I want to do Great Falls or Vienna only, and the home value has to be at least $1 million, and they have to be a homeowner. Like, the power in that was so strong, all of that's gone. So you're more like kind of spreading a wide net. It's more like postcards. Yes.
Am I imagining this, or with all these housing compliance stuff, did somebody, I thought somebody said that you could still pin drop and go narrower than 10 miles.
You probably can. I've had it like and this is how I know Facebook's keeping an eye on it, because of the HUD, is you can go, like, it'll allow you to go all the way down to 1 mile, but you'll notice on those ads, they'll stay in review for like a day or 2. And I just don't want to take the chance when Facebook is telling me that they don't want you doing it less than 10-mile radius. I'm not going to test it, because I've heard of agents getting their ad accounts taken down, and it's a giant pain in the butt to get it fixed. So it's tough, because when I have a mailer going out, that was the most powerful marketing piece I had. I had a mailing piece go out, and then I would drop 5 to 10 ads on that neighborhood, and they would literally come in like all right, Dustin, you just got to tell me how you're doing it. Like, they would come in and say that. So that's the biggest thing that I miss. But if you do reach as an objective, and you drop it 10 miles, and you do multiple ads, the same neighborhood's going to see that house. Those are the only ones where I'm really trying to target that neighborhood for an open house, that I will do a reach ad, because I just need to get it in front of, and I won't do edit placements, I'll do all placements, because they'll tell you, like, I was on Facebook, I was on Instagram, I clicked on a New York Times article, I was just trying to read about Bob Mueller, and like, you just keep popping up your video everywhere. And that's when you know you're omnipresent, you're just kind of everywhere.
I got a question.
Yes, sir.
So could you do 3 10-mile ads and kind of have them cross
Yes.
over in one little tight section, spend a little extra money?
You could, yeah, and I will tell you, like, $10 ads over a short period of time are stronger than one $100 ad, because in Facebook's mind, it's like 3 to 10 different things of content, and that will be more bang for your buck than just one $100
You
ad.
could like Venn diagram and just get that one little triangle
Yeah.
of that one neighborhood.
Well, the ads aren't gonna intersect. Those are gonna each be 10-mile radiuses. So your best bet is to just do all of them, drop a pin on the house, do 10-mile radius, and go from there. Eventually, I'm hoping they kind of relax off of it. Facebook's the boogeyman right now, so they're getting a lot of heat about it. But like, we can target postcards and just list it to a specific neighborhood for mailers. So it's kind of ridiculous. I understand all the fair housing, the age, all of that stuff, but not to be able to go into a specific neighborhood is a little ridiculous. And I agree with Agent Gripes on that. I'm hoping eventually they take it. If you guys want to try the 1 mile and for a few ads and it works, please let me know. I'll let your guys' ad account be the guinea pig.
I did it last month and didn't have a problem.
Really?
I did it on 3 of them, because I had 3 listings all like clustered within like 10 blocks of each other. And each week, I do the coming soon, the open house. Not quite as expensive as what you do. And I was doing 1 or 2 miles, because it's also my farm. So like I wanted to hit, everybody ad nauseum.
Mm-hmm. No, I mean,
It was late May. I don't know.
You probably, I mean, if you can get away with it, get away with it. You just see like people on listens to leads on that forum talking about like my ad account got taken down. I don't know if it's just because of mileage or if they were doing something else. My guess is they were changing age or something else. But they are cracking down. And it was more of a zip code thing and like blockbusting or redlining, whatever the term is.
Don't use zip codes, use the pin drop.
Yeah, don't use zip codes, use the pin drop. If you put a zip code and your ad account will get like, they might give you one warning at first, but after that.
Can you put a city like Ashburn?
I would just do a specific address and a radius. I think that's your safest bet. You
Well,
can
I mean,
do city.
Can you do like a city?
Yeah, you can do
that's all
city
your
only. And you can say Ashburn. You just want to make sure in that top bar you put live in this location, not like just driving through it. Because
Right.
when you're in traffic, your phone knows where you are and Facebook knows where you are at all times. So if you're trying to, it looks kind of awkward if you're sitting at a stop sign and you're getting ads that says like, find out what your Ashburn home is worth. You know, it's like, I don't live in Ashburn, so you don't want to waste that money on somebody that's not living there. But yeah, you can try it. I mean, please. I'm dropping a pin because I've been hearing stories about other people's ad accounts getting taken down, so I'm not touching it. Again, this is where I said single image ads perform better than video ads, and I've seen it. I've split tested video versus a single exterior photo, and the single exterior photo wins almost every single time. And I kind of talk about this later, but I don't know if I'm going to miss it. The big rage right now with agents is, what is it, Brownie Box or Box Brownie?
Box Brownie.
Yeah, Box Brownie. So you see all of these agents, you know, they're doing the Twilight photos, they can go post editing, which is a great resource because if you have a photographer that's charging you $50 to do a Twilight photo, like you can do it on Brownie Box or Box Brownie for like $4 an image. But what I find interesting is, and I'll get into the split testing section here in a second, because it's so cheap, I pay for $4 for every cloud type. It's like fantasy, orange, cooler blue, and the regular traditional photo almost always beats all that fantasy crap because you're telling people like, this house doesn't really look like this. So just keep in mind, like, don't assume because you see it looks really nice and you're like, oh, this is going to look amazing on my brochure. And I still use it occasionally. Like the split test that I have here, one of the fantasy ones or one of the Twilight ones did compete with the regular photo. But when I'm in the very beginning stages and I do a single exterior photo before I even have the professional photos, like just something from my phone, I'll send it in for Twilight and I'll test like 4 or 5 different front-facing photos against each other, and then when I have the best one, I'll test the 4 or 5 clouds. My wife thinks I'm crazy. She's like, you could just split test everything, and it's just like the marketing piece I find so fascinating because Facebook allows you, like if you send 5,000 postcards like I do, you're thinking in your mind like, I'm just not getting a response this month, my penetration isn't there, I need to do it for like 12 months, you know, you're like, should I stop, should I keep going? Facebook tells you immediately, like one day, is this working or not working? So I know like which photo is the best every single time. There's the Imagine headline again, imagine living in this remodeled Centerville home, minimum radius. So this is a like campaign. I don't run these a lot. When these actually do work really well, I will tell you, is in your community. If you're big on Twitter, like I love Twitter, it's like my favorite social media platform, even though I don't advertise on it at all. It's just my addiction. If you have a local sports team that just did really well, or anybody posting a video on a Facebook page, you can't, I don't think, there might be a program where you can download a video from somebody else's Facebook page, but like when Westfield won like the state championship, there was like a great celebration video, and I live in the Westfield High School district, and I tweeted at that person like, hey, do you mind if I use this? Do I have permission to use this on your Facebook page? And they're like, yes. And there's like lots of programs where you can type, you know, download Twitter video. And I download the Twitter video, and then I make a like campaign, just congratulations Westfield High School football, state champions, 3rd year in a row, whatever it was. And they're just liking the video. They don't realize they're liking my page. And granted, it was a lot of high school kids, but you know, I'll get them like 10 years from now. those are the type of videos that you can get a lot of people to like your page very quickly, and that's how I've been able to scale my likes up so fast. Is like I'll occasionally see a piece of content, and like you see like a news team will go on somebody on Twitter and say, hey, this is Susie from Channel 7 News. Do you mind if do I have permission to use this video? And most of the people will just say yes, and then you can say download Twitter video, and then you can turn that video into a like campaign ad. And they're thinking that they're just liking the video, but they're actually liking your page, and then they're in your web.
So what is a like campaign? That automatically likes your page, and it's not just.
Correct. Yeah, they're not liking that specific video. They think they're liking your video, but they're actually liking your page.
I have videos with like 10,000 views, and I probably generated 5 page likes out of it, so it's good to know.
Yeah, and you have to have Power Editor to do that. And this slide deck, when you guys kind of get into that, you could do a like campaign off of a specific property, but don't be surprised. Like it's the local content that people like. You know, when my daughter had a theater performance, like you know, Phantom of the Opera, I would post that, and everybody in the neighborhood's like, yeah, I'll give this kid a like or promote this local theater thing, and I'm like, yes, excellent. But this will kind of get into actually the step-by-step process of doing a like campaign over time. But I really wanted to get to, and you guys, it's very nuts and bolts, so I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. And I really want to get, this is like that sphere of influence ad and how to create an audience that we talked about earlier, Jeff. You also can, from here, you can also, when you create an audience, you can say video views, engagement, or you can say upload a file. So I download from listings to leads all the email addresses that I have, because like probably a fifth of the leads that I come in are already associated to somebody else in the brokerage's Boomtown account. So I'll do an upload every single month of all the email addresses that I have, and then I'll create a custom audience, because it scales up. It's like last month it was 5,500, this month it's 6,000, next month, and it will continue to get bigger and bigger and bigger, because your listing business will grow, you'll be running more ads for more listings, and then suddenly, you know, hopefully in 10 years from now, I'm Kerry Shaw. But you can literally just copy and paste from the Excel spreadsheet that you export. You can copy and paste all those email addresses, because if you're doing, remember when I said edit placements and you're saying mobile newsfeed only, 9 times out of 10, those email addresses, when they click on your ad, are going to be the email address that's associated with their Facebook account. So if you download and export all of your contacts from Gmail and you make a custom audience, probably half of those to 40% are not going to be the email address that's associated with their Facebook account. But the ads that you're running, most of those will be. So I mean, you want to include them all and let Facebook figure it out if it's the right email or not. But that's kind of like, I have in my list of things that I'm doing every week and what I'm trying to obtain. You know, obviously I'm running an ad for every listing, but I'm saying always run a sphere of influence ad, and it's just like a daily reminder. I write it down 3 times, like a crush that I have in high school, like I love Devin Fox, I love Devin Fox. I literally write it 3 times, like always run a sphere of influence ad, just to remind myself this is what I need to be doing. And normally I will just take one of my listings that they haven't seen before, that just has an amazing video, like amazing drone exterior video, because what I'm trying to show them is like, this is quality work. If you ever sell your house, this is obviously the person you want to go to, because you're seeing me everywhere. I'm obviously targeting and doing marketing for my client, and that's the idea, but it's a long game, and you got to pay to play. Like just putting it on your Facebook page is going to do nothing for you. You put on your Facebook page, maybe 8 to 10% of your actual Facebook likes will even see that post. So,
How often do you do the sphere of influence ones?
I do it every week, but only for a day. Because if you tell them, or maybe 2 days, because somebody might not get on Facebook for a day, which is rare in today's world. But if you say what they want you to do on a sphere of influence ad, it automatically defaults to daily budget. So they're going to say $1 a day, $2 a day, like I say in that beginning of that slideshow. But you're better off saying $20 for one night from 6 to 11 p.m. because you get ad fatigue. You don't want them to see you like you don't want them to not see you everywhere, because then they will right click on your ad and say like, hide this crazy person from me. Like, they're bombarding me. You want to have them see you like once a week with your ads and have it be a different listing, and you know, show them different things. And if you don't have multiple listings, again, ask your photographer to say, can I pay you $25-30 extra to like have you give me a 15-second edit or a 60-second edit? Because that 15-second one, you can get Facebook stories, you can get Instagram stories, you could do all the platforms on reach on a sphere of influence ad. If you do under 60 seconds, you can get it on Instagram, but it won't be like an Instagram story. But if you have like a 15-second less edit, you can do it everywhere. Like, you can say all placements, but just beware when you do a reach ad for your sphere of influence and you do all placements, when you get to that final screen, it'll allow you to right click on the preview, and a preview and the way you want things to look in the mobile news feed is going to look different and awkward on Instagram. Because if you say, like I do my Facebook ads, the headline at the bottom and the same headline at the top, when you go to Instagram, it'll have two headlines right next to it. It looks like a run-on sentence or double the sentence. So just beware, and you're better off just kind of doing that ads differently from Instagram. I want to get here to the mailer. This is analytics. You can see who's looking at your ads. It's typically 70-80% women.
Maybe that's just you, man.
No, it's not me. It's not me, because honestly, I've told this in podcasts before. I've split tested, you know, just my photo versus Devin and I's photo. I've split tested in my mailers, both of our business cards versus just Devin's business cards. And most of the business is in my name, and they still call Devin over me. Expired withdrawals, everything, they'll call Devin. You know, it's just like, it's a sexist world we're living in. Yes?
I do ads for a restaurant, same thing, it's 70-80% women. It's just,
Yeah, it's just like you know, women are on Facebook more than men, and that's just the reality of the situation. If you're trying to do what to do with these leads, have email, text scripts, and bomb videos prepared to quickly respond to each and every lead. So what I do on Mondays is, before I even start on my Monday emails, and sometimes it's Tuesday. If I know I'm sending a Monday email and I'm like begging for a price adjustment or for an open house, then I don't know really what my communication is going to be. So I'll do that email on Tuesday. But I go through, I make a bomb video, and I'll do one for all my listings all at the same time. You know, when you get your hair and makeup done and you're ready to roll and do a bomb video for your listings. But you can save that bomb video through Boomtown, and when you're getting 25 to 50 leads for that listing, you tag them all, and then you hit email all of them at the same time, and then you do the drop down with the bomb video you saved, and you can email all 50 people the same thing at the same time, rather than going through and clicking and trying to reach every single person. Because that's where the frustrating thing for agents is. They come to me and say, Dustin, I'm getting 100 Facebook ads a week, and like, what am I doing with these? Like, they're just there, and I don't have anything to do with them. Like, you need to systematize it so you have a process in place so you can send them all the same thing. And then you're just going to get that lucky random one that just says, hey, I do want to see this house, let me know. Or they're going to be in your pipeline for a really long time, and they're going to raise their hand and say, you know, I've been getting all of your stuff, I want you to sell my house. Be different. Remember the 4 Ps of all your ads. Promise. Every ad should uniquely promise them something, whether it's like the house changing their life, or imagine living with this much privacy. Like, think about how the buyer feels. And a lot of these people are in a townhouse, and they're busting at the seams. They got 3 kids. They're like, I got to get the hell out of here. So you're selling a vision of how their life could be different. Like, what's the benefit of them moving into this specific house? How will it change their life? And that goes along with picture. The reader should imagine themselves enjoying the benefit of your promise. Prove why should they believe you, stats, testimonials, etc. And then push, give them a reason to act now. Time blocking. Facebook ads are a time commitment, and the follow-up is even more so. So you should have committed about 2 hours a week for this. So for me, it's a little bit less because I already have my headlines, I already know what I'm doing. In any advertising, it should be like 80% research. So every listing you get, the majority of the time spent on that listing should just be writing your listing description. So that's, I think, the hardest part for all of us creatively, and you're just like, God, how am I gonna talk about this? Or you're like looking at the other listings in the neighborhood, you're like, copy this, copy this, copy this, copy this, copy this, paste, 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 paste. Really what I start off with is when you're doing the listing presentation and you're writing down, you're taking notes as they're giving you the tour, and you write down every feature and benefit you can think of. And then when you get home and you look at other neighborhoods and you're like, okay, what would be the benefit? What's the feature? What's the benefit of this room? What's the feature? What's the benefit of this backyard? What's the feature? What's the benefit? And you should just list every single thing you can think, including their capital improvements. And then once you have all of those features written down, then you're ready to add your listing description. And you're gonna, when you really spend a lot of time in writing really strong listing descriptions, your clients will be impressed. They're gonna come to you and say, oh my God, like, I couldn't write it better myself. And you're trying to paint a picture, you know, but buyers see a coming soon listing with a single exterior photo, and they're clicking on it and want to see it just from your description alone. You're just kind of painting that picture. These are, I talked about this on Pat Hyben's podcast about like hacking some headlines from Cosmo. My wife made fun of me because I spent like 2 days at the library and I was doing like large print Reader's Digest and Cosmo, and I was like taking headlines because they have such good ones. It's like 6 this, or, you know, and it was just like, you can see like this one, like the Big O, six secret ways to get the highest home sale offer, you know, like just like things that are curiosity. I don't mind being a little racy. But you really, if you start to see how somebody's able to catch your eyes in a grocery store and those headlines, and you start really looking at those and saying, how can I make this into a real estate ad? The things start to come together for you in your mind. You're like, if that magazine headline could get me to pick it up while I'm in line versus something else, it should be a red flag, or just snap a photo of it. My target market is 55 plus. So that's my desired market. Most people my age are like, I want first-time home buyers, I want this, that. I want people that have equity in their house and they don't even know about Redfin. So, you know, or they're not going to give me a lot of grief about the commission. They still value the role of a real estate agent. So the way that I look up my marketing, and my wife thinks I'm crazy because we do this every time we're at Giant. I go down every aisle, and while they're shopping, I lay down on the cart every National Enquirer and every Examiner and everything, and I look up all the hearing aid ads and the safety bathtub ads, and I snap photos and save them on a file on my phone, and like that's how I make my marketing look, because I want it to look like that. And I knew it was working because when I was running those ads in Oakton, my return was so small. Like postcard responses were so small, and I said, Devin, like I don't think there's enough 55 plus people in Centerville. Like let me try this 5,000 postcards in Oakton. And the minute that I sent it over there, I started getting people calling me. Instead of like, I said, text me at this number, and I would get a call, and they're like, Dustin, give me your 6 secrets every seller should know. And I'm like, yes, it's working. This is A/B split testing. As you experiment with your ads, always try split testing some variant. There's a million things you can do. So headlines, the photo, the audience, the time of the day. Make sure you keep all, when you do a test, it's just like any other scientific experiment. You should have a control. So everything else should be the same. Don't get cute with it and say like, I'm gonna change the headline, but this one's going to Instagram and this one's going to Facebook. Like everything else should be the same, but you should have one change variant, and then over time, you're gonna learn what's working and what's not. And then I said agents are all using the brownie box or box brownie for their twilight shot. Agents are assuming that these will get more clicks or look better to their clients, but it's not always the case. The scientific method is to advertise and split test all of them and let the public decide which looks best. So here's an example. So I don't know why that question mark's there on my ad. While it's not like a huge variance between styles, so I put on here orange style, fantasy style, dramatic clouds, cooler blues, regular. These are all $10 ads that I ran from 8 p.m. to 11:59. So like the one that got the most clicks was cooler blue, which was a little bit more than regular. And you know, it doesn't seem like a lot. You're talking about a difference of 8 clicks more than orange style, but that's only a $10 ad. When you start doing it for $50 or $100, when you actually start your bigger ad campaign, then it makes a difference. That's like 25% better than the other one. So you're talking a difference of 25 cents a click versus 75 cents a click. So that's why you want to figure these things out early on in the listing and say like, your photographer's taking multiple angles of the house. You want to figure out which one looks the best. And they'll love that. You send it to them and say like, look, this is the best one. This has got the most clicks. And they're like, cool, you obviously know what you're doing. And other split testing categories, don't assume that Facebook's recommended all placements is the best bang for your buck. I talked to you guys before about that. Like me choosing mobile news feed only on a traffic ad is typically the best route for me. Headlines is the single most impactful variant that will impact, I should have said, your ads. Static photos generally perform 75% better than video, even though video looks good and you're like, oh, I really want to show this. The photos typically perform better. And then schedule split test different days and times. We talked about this earlier. I said like checking the forecast, going 8 p.m. to 11:59 p.m., especially if you know that the weather's bad, they're stuck in their house, you can really hit them hard then. And then the more you tell, the more you sell. I've split tested like the short ads versus the full listing description in my advertising, and normally the full description outweighs the smaller description. So don't be afraid. Like they're gonna see that more button and they're gonna click it, and if it all sounds appealing to them, then they're gonna click the link.
And Facebook tries to tell you not to make it long. Like it pops up saying you want it, but I always keep it long.
Yeah, they try to tell you a lot of things, but the only way to really know is to just split test it. And that takes patience, It's like, it takes, if you're just starting off with Facebook ads, it's very time consuming to just do your first one. It's like, your driver's ed, driving for the first time, you're like, oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. Because I've done this class a few times, and some agents have reached out and said, Dustin, can I meet with you one-on-one, like Starbucks, I'll buy you lunch, whatever. And I meet with them, and then they call me 6 months later again. They're like, Dustin, I have a new listing. I gotta sit down with you. This is just like $1 million plus. And I'm like, I showed you and you have the PowerPoint. Like, so you have to, if you're not willing to do the work to learn it, then pay somebody to do it. And then the biggest problem that most agents have is creatively, like, okay, how am I gonna come up with these headlines to split test or do things with? These are like two really great books. David Garfinkel's Advertising Headlines That'll Make You Rich. You're going to read these, and a lot of these are ads that you've seen in the past that are famous advertising campaigns, but they've been split tested over the years. And you're going to be able to just buy these books on Amazon. They're like $10 a piece, and flip through them, and you're like, oh, I could easily turn that into a house advertisement. And you'll start to see like which headlines are making the best impact. This, My Life, it's really just scientific advertising. This is the combination like biography and advertising book by Claude Hopkins, but you really just need the scientific advertising. They'll tell you exactly like which type of headlines work the best, whether it's announcing, finally, discover, at last, like all of these things. I put them all in there. Another one that's great is like The Home That Won the Hearts of All. It's so cheesy. Like just saying like the Oakton home that won the hearts of all. And you're just like, who would click on this? But it's the social proof. They're like, well, if everybody else loves it, like they'll click on it. And then just listed and just sold flyers. So in listings to leads, they have all these flyers already pre-built for you. So this is even more than Facebook ads. It's the most profitable marketing piece for my business. And to just kind of share a story, I've shared it on the podcast before. I had a listing presentation recently on like a 1.9 in Oakton. And I have a drone. I don't recommend you buying your own drone because I don't take really, I'm not good with it. I still pay like the professional guys to do it. I'm not great at editing. I don't know how to do the shots. But I thought in the beginning like, ooh, I'm gonna take a drone shot from the street of an expired with drone, and then like, bam, look what I'm gonna do for you. And it just was like so time consuming. But I knew I was having a listing presentation. The guy told me in the very beginning, you're one of 5 agents that I'm interviewing. And I was like, super. And I'm last. Like, can you just, from a professional standpoint, just like let me, like, just don't sign anything and let it get to me? So like, I went there at dawn at like 5 a.m. and I was going to get a drone shot from the street because I'm like, I really need to have my advertising campaign ready before I sit down with him so I can show him why he needs to go with me. And I had the shot, and while I was there, it was really early in the morning. A neighbor is up walking his dog and says, hey, I have my Pearson Smith polo on. And he's like, hey, you're in real estate? I said, yeah. He said, you doing drone? I said, yeah, I'm like, honestly, I'm not the drone guy, but I just, you know, I'm meeting with them. I'm not the listing agent on this. I'm just interviewing. But I hope I'm winning it, and I just want to show them kind of like what we're going to do. I'll hire somebody professional if I get the listing. And he said, oh, I'm like listing in like 3 weeks. I said, oh yeah? Who you listed with? He said some mega agent. And I said, cool. He's like, well, but she's not doing drone for me. And I said, hey, you know, I want my business to be as big as hers one day. So she's obviously doing something right. You're in good hands. And like, can I get your card? I'm like, I really can't. It's like considered unethical. It's going behind the sign. He's like, well, no problem. It's cool. I'm sure I'll see your sign if you win the listing. As he was walking away, I said, hey, just curious, like, why did you decide to go with them? He goes, you know, I don't know. I guess I've just been getting her mail for 20 years. So agents will try to, and me, even with the Facebook ads, will try to make you think mail is dead. But mail is something that you can hold on to and keep and say, like, I'm going to call this person later on when I'm going to sell my house. A Facebook ad is there for a second, and then it's poof, it's gone. So I really see the value. If I could go back and do things differently from when I was a beginning agent, I would start mailing everything. And like the mega agents, like, you know, guys that are doing a lot in Vienna and Oakton, Pat Stack, Casey Sampson, these guys, they just consistently send a just listed, just sold for every single listing. Like, that's just their business model. That's what they do. They're like, get the word out that it's gone for sale, and then tell them when we sold it. And that's really the most impactful thing that I have for my business. And listings to leads, when you have that listing entered in, from the task tab up here, you go all the way down. All of these things these are all things you can do for your business. I don't waste my time with like the Craigslist ad or any of that stuff. This one is good. The seller social media image, if you click that tab down and it has like Dear Sally Seller or something, you want to change it up to be more you versus like boilerplate, but you can forward that to them. A lot of sellers really want to help sell their house. So if you forward that to them, you're going to get probably like 5 to 15 of their friends and family members in your system also, just from them sharing it. And they're going to be impressed with the quality as well. And those are going to be the more likely people to use you later on because you already did a good job with somebody they know, like, and trust. So that's a really good one. The print flyer for nearby buyers, it sounds still really elementary, but like whenever you have your signpost install, always do the flyer box. And the reason being is, some people do the text thing, some people do the website thing, but for me, the people that get out of their car and pull that flyer out and then text it are like the strongest leads, better than Zillow, better than anything, because they already know where the house is. They got out of their car to grab something because it looked nice enough for them to text to see the inside photos. Those are the strongest leads you're gonna get. But here, print flyer for nearby homeowners. Basically what this is it's like, this says, Dear Fairland Acres neighbor. We want to let you know, now this is edited. They're going to have their templated thing, but this is generally what I do. We want to let you know that 2316 Keywood Lane in Silver Spring is coming soon for sale. Our clients have put in a ton of work into the house, and they would love for you to have the first chance to pick out your new neighbor. We're hosting a neighborhood-only open house from 1 to 2 p.m. this Sunday. If this time doesn't work for you, feel free to swing by during the public portion of the open house from 2 to 4. We'll be serving full taco bar. The carne asada has been marinating for 3 days, and whole fruit margaritas. You don't want to miss it. It just feels like an invitation and an event. And that's what you're trying to drive, is like this feeling of like, oh, I don't mind, like, you're personally inviting me. I don't mind being the looky-loo neighbor to come in. And then like Jen Mack does a great job. If you see her open houses, like, it's fully catered. You're being measured against other agents. So don't be surprised when they come into your open house and you have a bowl of hard candy, why they're not calling you to list their house. Like, if you're doing this consistently, it's a lot of work. But this is why, you know, some people do the Thursday night neighborhood only. To me, I just don't have the time to set up and take down twice in 1 week. So I just do 1 to 2 neighborhood only, because I would typically I would do a 1 to 4 open house anyways. I don't really care if the neighbors come in during regular hours or during not regular hours. It's just I want to make it feel a little bit personal, but I also don't want to set up or take down twice, if that makes sense. But you want it to be an event. You want them to give the vibe of when they walk in there, a buyer, like, ooh, I could see myself entertaining here. You know, it's just like if you go to a party, and this is the way most open houses are, and it's, you know, your kid's friend's birthday party or a family, and you walk in and you look at your wife and you're like, do they really not even have anything to eat yet? Like this is a party. And you're like, I hope pizza's coming. Like, what's wrong with them? You know, but that's what people think at an open house too. You know, they're not expecting it, but it's just nice for you to go above and beyond, because when the neighbors come in and you know, they start having some tacos, I'm blending the Vitamix blender, you know, it's a big show, and they're walking around, you know, they're saying like, Dustin, I want you to sell my house. And even if they're 6 months out, a year out, then they're in my web because they logged in on the iPad and they're getting all my sphere of influence things. And then for this, I used to pay my daughter to stuff all of these, and now she's in college, and you know, my other kids, they're just lazy. So I use, and I got this from JC from his podcast. He uses Zairmail, and Zairmail.com. You can download the PDF from Listings to Lead once you've edited the flyer to make it look the way you want to make it look. And then in the tax record, depending upon how big the neighborhood and how dense it is, I'll either go a 1/4 mile or a 1/2 mile radius from that house. And my preference is at least 200 houses, and I've done up to 750 if it's like a big townhouse community and it's like really quick for them to get to. And it's not inexpensive, but I will download from the tax record. You know, you can export the tax record and with the owner's mailing address or property mailing address, whichever you prefer. And then you set it up into this Excel format that Zairmail wants. It takes like 2 seconds. I make Devin do it because I don't really know Excel very well. And then this is just like a marketing thing. So I talked about this a lot in podcasts. We all sort our mail over the wastebasket. So when you get your mail, you're like, add. You're like, is this a bill or is this something personal? You're like, I gotta put it in the other pile, but you're just going over your trash can. So most real estate postcards, I do postcards because you're not gonna beat that ROI of like the EDDM and the cost of, you know, just, you know, 20 cents per postcard to mail out. But on these, the objective on this, because you're saying something to a specific neighborhood, saying like, I want you to come meet me at this event. The best chance that you're going to get them to open it is a first-class stamp. The next best is to do the pre-sorted stamp. So it's a real stamp, but they're going to tell you that they can't guarantee delivery for 7 to 10 days. And you won't get the return mail like if the address isn't right. Always include your own address in that spreadsheet you upload to Zairmail, because you want to know that it's gone out. You want to know that it's received, and you want to touch it and feel it and see what it looks like in the consumer's hands. But as long as you do something the weekend before and say, I want this to mail out on Tuesday or Wednesday, they'll get it beforehand. You know, it's tough because then, of course, whenever you spend $500 on one of these mailings, you get a offer like $10,000 above list. They're like, they want you to cancel the open house. You're like, son of a bitch. But when I have a party, you know, you're just like, you know, you have to take every listing on its own in terms of like how you're going to advise the sellers. But never to use the indicia. They're going to tell you it's like probably 50 cents or something a piece to use the indicia versus the live stamp at like, it's almost $1 to have them stuff it for you and use the live stamp that's 50 cents. So if you don't have a lot of listings or you have kids to do it, nothing's going to beat a handwritten envelope with a live stamp. Especially if you don't have anything on the cover saying like Pearson Smith Realty. Everything from a brokerage compliance standpoint is going to be in the letter at the bottom. It's going to have your brokerage address, your office number, all of that stuff, your license number. But on the outside of the envelope, if it says like Pearson Smith Realty, or you're using some nice envelope that's like teal, that's Pearson Smith Realty, they're going to be like, ugh. The objective is when they open that up, when they see the letter, the envelope, or when they open it up, you want to keep that oh yuck feeling away from them. Like you want to open it up and say, oh, dear sublease station neighbor, that's me. Oh, I want to invite you to something. Okay, what are you inviting me to? Like one sentence leads to the next, and the next, and the next, and the next. But this is really, it's tough because you might do 2 or 3 of these and you're going to get discouraged because you might have a couple people show up to the open house and they're going to say, hey, Dustin, you know, I'm thinking about selling like next year. I love all of this. Like, this is great. Like, I can see this at my house. I have a pool and like this whole thing you're doing will look great here. And I'm like, cool, yeah. And I'm just like, why aren't you selling now? I don't have time to follow up for you for a year. But you're gonna think it's not working. You'll do like 3 or 4, and you're not gonna have anybody raise their hand and say, I want you to sell your house. And then a year later, somebody that didn't even come into your open house is gonna call you and say, hey, you know, I know you sold my neighborhood before. Can you come and talk to me about selling your house? And they're gonna pull that letter out, and you're gonna say, son of a bitch, it worked. Like, why did I stop doing this? So you have to consistently do this for every listing. You have to make a plan. Like, when you get paid on a just sold, take that money and say, I'm gonna take, you know, $500, whatever, out of that paycheck and send that just sold mailer. And normally I will wait, you'll see here, I'll normally wait until I get the testimonial from my client because it means a little bit more if I include that in the letter. So I'll edit the letter there, says, just want to let you know that your neighbor at 11302 Waples Mill just sold. Our clients are thrilled with the price. Then it has their actual testimonial because some of them might actually know him. And when it's their writing, it's a little bit better. And then I say, because of our targeted Facebook ads, Instagram, and open house advertising, we have 83 potential buyers looking in your neighborhood. We would love to play matchmaker if you're considering selling in the near future. And then it's the rest of it's all like the listings and lead boilerplate. And this is all honest stuff. Like, I can show them in my boomtown under the tag this many people that clicked on their ads that I already have saved. So I could easily email them all at once and say, like, I have this coming soon listing. You know, love to sneak you in. You possibly buy it before it even hits the live market. And that is it. So obviously you guys know I'm licensed here. You guys are all licensed in Virginia. If any of you guys are not licensed in DC or Maryland and you ever have a referral, please, you guys would know that I would take good care of them. Anyone that anybody's ever sold for me, I've sold, or sent to me, I've sold, because I'm doing all of this stuff for every listing. So don't be shy. I like to stick around the Beltway. So if you send me somebody like Howard County or something, I'm like, I can't. It's just too far. It's just out of my expertise. But what questions do you guys have?
Got a quick one. Obviously, you've been doing this and figuring it all out after a while. Do you have like a tick list of like every time you get a listing, like I'm doing this, boom, and then I'm doing this, and boom, like, or do you just have it all?
No, I do. I have it kind of up here. It's just like any checklist at any job. You start off using the checklist, and then over time, you're like, I just have it. But the task tab on listings to lead there, when you go to listings and you have everything entered, it'll say task tab, and you look through there and you're like, okay, I need to try to do everything on here. And the big thing is, like, the first one is that landing page link that you can run the ad for. It's the sharing the post with your seller because they want to get the word out about their house also. You'll get their friends and family in. It's the print flyer for nearby homeowner, like that one I'm mailing out for every listing. I have the print flyer for buyers. That's the one that goes in the flyer box. And I picked the flyer that only has a single photo. So when you go to listings and leads and you go to print flyers, they don't look as good as the flyers that your marketing company will give you. I'll tell you that straight up. You can make them look nicer by coming here and printing them out on a better printer and printing them out on better paper so they're like thicker and they look nice in the box. But the graphics on them, they're not going to be as shiny and nice as what your marketing company is. The thing that I like about it, though, is you can choose the one that just has the single exterior photo on it, and they have to text you to get the rest of the photos. So then you have their cell phone. You can call them up and say, hey, just saw, were you just looking for more photos, or did you like to see the house? I'm showing it this Saturday at 7 p.m. if you'd like to join us. Like that, you're just kind of like not being pushy about selling them anything. You're just like, hey, you want to tag along? But that task tab, you just go down through the line, and that's going to give you the best guideline. Just follow that in the beginning, and then over time, if you do that for every single listing, and then you switch it over to just sold, and then you have the just sold flyer there also, and then the just sold posts. I don't do a lot of just sold Facebook ads because people don't care. They don't care that you just sold this house. They care about a house that they could potentially see, or they want to see. If it's off the market, they don't care about it. So, Mike, what was your question?
Do you do Happy Grasshopper or no?
I don't, and it was a kind of a business decision that I made because we had been doing Happy Grasshopper, and I wasn't like super excited about like the content emails that were there. And like if I got a couple friends, you know, my drinking buddies that are like six apps that'll save me money this summer, like, God damn it, Devin, did you read this before you sent it out? Like, what's going on? And she's just like, you're an asshole. Like,
Or you sending something via email?
I am, yeah. So I'm paying, you know, probably too much for Outbound Engine. It's $350, but it's because it's $350 a month, but it's because my email list is 6,000 people. So it's lower tier if your email list is lower. And if you guys are interested in it, let me know because I can get like a $50 referral or something. If you're and I wouldn't really recommend it to you have a big email database. So for me, I had gone from Happy Grasshopper, and then we were paying like the expensive, like I think it was like $1,200 for a year for the high-end BombBomb one. And even that content I didn't really like because it was just like kind of random things that didn't really make sense to what, it didn't lend expertise to what I'm talking about business. I needed to be relevant to what is going on this season and what I'm doing. And I think like Outbound Engines is a little bit more split tested, like the way I do my headlines. It'll be like 6 ways to get top dollar for your house during the summer. You know, it's like things like that. And then they send out it's every 2 weeks, and then they send out an email that is like once a month or once a quarter. That's like a referral campaign. So I have a big problem in my head internally of asking my sphere of influence or anybody for referrals. I just think it's like incredibly tacky. But this does it for me. It sends it out and it's like, hey, we're doing a referral campaign and you have a chance to win $500. And every time it goes out the last couple months, I've had a couple people fill it out and it says like, it grades them. It says like they clicked out, like they're very likely to move in this next 6 months. And then I'm like, okay, now I'm gonna start sending them CMAs and everything. And they're people that I had not been emailing that had come in through listings to leads for a really long time because I wasn't happy with what BombBomb had and I wasn't happy with the Happy Grasshopper content. And I just thought like the Outbound Engine was a little bit better.
So, and everybody you get goes into your...
Yeah, once a month.
Outbound.
Yeah, once a month I do a new upload. So I download everything from listings to leads. Devin does her magic on Excel. They don't even need you to do that. You can just send them your new lists in totality, and they'll scrub it and take out the people that are already doubled. But I do that once a month because there's some months if I have 5 to 10 listings, I might have like 500 new emails. So I just do it once a month so I don't go crazy like thinking I'm missing somebody like on a week-to-week basis. But it's been pretty good. I'm happy with it so far. I've had like 2 people in basically 6 weeks raise their hand and say I want to sell my house. So, but I have a big email list,
Yeah.
and I was just kind of wasting that space.
So you just sold, just sold mailers. You said when you're pulling the addresses, you're property owner or
Yeah.
yourself? You're either way?
Yeah, no, I will typically just do property address because I've had more luck in random like renters that are like, Dustin, my lease is coming up and like I've been waiting for a house to come up in this neighborhood versus if they live like out of state or they even live in another city, they ain't coming to your open house. So just do the property address.
And you do them by how long they've owned the house?
No, I don't do anything, any of that. I don't think the algorithms is really like that accurate. You can really try to get like nitty gritty with Remind and like what they're doing. But like I had a listing presentation last night. This is the 4th house this guy has bought in 3 years. You know what I mean? Like right, I know. But you just, you never know. People get job changes. It's a transient city. So people move and then, they're military, they got to move 2 years later and they don't want to deal with the hassle of out-of-state renting or property management. They just want to sell the house. So I just hit everybody in the neighborhood. When I do it, I go tax record and then I type, instead of like the actual address, I go within, you do that drop down, like within a quarter mile or half a mile, and then you type the address in. And then you can click the map button and see where that is, or you can diagonally draw like the polygon of the map if you know like this is a townhouse and a single family community. So if you know where the townhouses are, you can just kind of draw it on the tax record and then do export, all of the mailing addresses.
And I have just one.
No, you're fine.
Quick. You are, as Devin says, you are crazy. You're crazy like a fox.
Thank you.
Hey Dustin,
Yes.
what percentage of buyers versus sellers do you get from all these efforts, and then how do you manage buyers?
It's a good question. If you look at my home snap, it doesn't look great. I think I have 41 sales on the list side and only 19 buyers. I really just prefer listings, which is weird because my wife was like, it's so less expensive to help buyers. And yeah, and that's the thing for me is like, I know a seller will value what I'm doing. Like I know they will. And for whatever reason, I am very excited. I think it's the competition of like trying to sell something that nobody else was able to sell, or trying to come up creatively with selling something that has been on the market for a while. And that challenge, like you should look at those sellers like as an opportunity of like, this isn't like stressful, this isn't a pain in the butt, this is forcing me to grow and think outside the box and do something differently for my clients. I have a really hard time with, in the very beginning, I was probably 80, 90% buyers versus sellers. But over time in my business, and it sounds very like crotchety that I've only been in the business for 4 years, but I have a problem with like the indecisiveness of buyers. Or if I'm showing somebody houses and they're like, you know, Dustin, I understand that you're saying I got to go 405 on a 395, but I feel like, you know, like they're signing, like one couple signed and one didn't, you know, and then I'm like, hey, just checking in, make sure you don't lose the house. And they're like, I just feel like, you know, they're winning everything and I'm not winning anything. I'm like, you're winning the house. Like, help me help you. And it's just like sellers, you don't go through that. They just want best price, fast as possible. They all want the same thing. It's just more stressful when you're not selling it immediately. But when you're doing this stuff for them and you're doing it consistently and you tell them from the very beginning, like you're gonna get an email from me every single Monday and I'm gonna list everything that I'm doing. You're never gonna wonder what I'm doing to sell your house. You're gonna get every ad that I'm running and I'm gonna give you the actual results of the ads. They'll love you. They'll know what you're doing. They're not gonna feel like, you're not gonna have that little voice in the back of your head like, could I be doing more? You're doing everything you can. So.
It seems like you're hitting so many people. Are you having to turn buyers away?
No, but I'm just not good at, like, I have no pitch. Unless somebody raises their hand in an open house and says, I want you to help me buy a house, I don't even ask them. So that's a giant hole in my business because I don't like feeling ever, like I'm so paranoid from like an intention, like a sincerity level with my sellers. Like if somebody is like one of their neighbors and then I'm trying to sell the house and I'm like, hey, you know, if this one didn't work, like I got this other listings that are in the neighborhood, like go see them right after this. I don't know why. It just like, it bothers me. I just want them to know that I'm focusing on selling their house. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. It's just not for me personally. So I just have a lot of holes there. And, you know, like buyers, they can find the houses themselves. Like really, unless it's coming soon in the MLS, and you're dripping them with those anyways, or if it's on a realtor forum, you know, there's not a lot more that you can do for them that the next buyer's agent can do for them. So my value really isn't there with the buyers that it needs to be. I'm good at like presenting offers and winning offers for my clients. It's just not something that I'm super passionate about. Unless any of my clients are listening and they're buying a house, then I'm gonna take good care of you. Yeah. Yes.
What's the second to bottom link for longer free trial on listings?
So this is like, you guys all have listings to leads because it's a brokerage provided tool. So this is up when I post this up on like Top Agent Happy Hour, and you know I push this out to anybody else that wants to learn more about Facebook ads. This is for them because this is so heavily based on that platform, and it's not expensive. It's like $40 a month. But you guys get it for free as a tool that Eric provides. So don't go on here and pay for this because you're already getting it for free.
Do we have access to all functions?
And you have access to everything. He's giving you.
Happy Grasshopper.
Yeah, no. Happy Grasshopper, you
much.
get like this much. So if you're not happy with Happy Grasshopper, think about if you have like a really good friend that's a seller. like you're going in for a listing presentation and they wouldn't mind, and you have like a tape recorder or a voice memo, you go record your listing presentation. That's going to give you like 90% of the content you would need to make to send a blast email out, because you don't even realize until you hear your client ask questions and you respond to them, like the actual level of detail of what you do for each person. You do the same thing every day, so you're assuming everybody knows this. But if you record a listing presentation, that's going to give you like 3 emails if you don't want to pay for the better version of Happy Grasshopper or Bomb or Outbound Engine. And then just like putting in your calendar and say like, I'm going to send out an email to my entire database that's going to be relevant to them. Because if you really take the time to write something good, it's going to be better than even Outbound Engine has, because it's going to be relevant to our market here. But it's tough. You're not going to be able to put like DC metro area real estate snapshot. Nobody cares. You know, it's got to be like one of those Cosmo headlines, like 6 things, one of these things. That's how you get people pulled in. Because that's what my postcards say. Like my postcards for Oakton, Centerville, I don't say like property valuation. Like click here to get your property valuation. Nobody cares. The consumers have grown smart and they know they can just get an online property valuation. It's like thinking of selling in the next 12 months. Here's 6 secrets every seller should know. The hidden secrets so powerful that I guarantee they'll get you blah 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 blah. And then it's like the website is 6secrets.com or 6sellersecrets.com. And I say, put your address on the website. I will mail you the 6 secrets to your address, or text me here and I'll give them. And even though I say text, Oakton, because it's mostly 55 plus, and at first I didn't know. They would just say, Dustin, what are your 6 secrets? And I'm like, hello? So, everybody wants a secret.
So you have a pamphlet of 6 secrets?
Do you guys want to know what they are?
Sure.
It's a secret, sorry. Sorry.
How do you get your Facebook ads through that for approval?
My Facebook ads? Bad question. Next.
I actually talked to Burgers about that. You need to have your Facebook page approved through Dalu. From there, you can run ads on it, because it all links back to the Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That was a question that first came up with me. I'm like, hey, I gotta get everyone done. That's what I'm doing.
Yeah, no, I mean, the thing is like I make sure everything is compliant. I'm not promising anything that I can't deliver. I'm not doing anything from a fair housing standpoint that would not be compliant. So I don't worry myself with, could I possibly be sued for this? Because they have it's one click. You got to have your brokerage address. You can't do any targeted with fair housing stuff. It's all out there to know. It's just like when people start like guaranteeing or promising things that they can't deliver is when you start to run into problems. What's that? That's okay. There's always that kid in class.
Do you ever do the interest, like when you're doing the?
No, so you used to. The interest could be, Zillow, Realtor. You're better off in terms of split testing if you did Zillow, Realtor. And this is just my experience. So try an ad, do a $50 ad, do $25 for Zillow, Realtor, Redfin, and then do one that's just no interest other than like excluding agents. You'll have more bang for your buck and more people click on your ad. The entire objective is to just get them in the system. It's a really, really long game. I don't really believe in brand awareness. Like I'm more of a direct marketing type of person. Like if I'm sending something out, the objective is to get you to respond to me so I can, I can list your house or do something for you. But on the Facebook ads, it's more of a tool for me to say, this is what I'm doing to sell your house. And then it's a longer term, you're in my campaign with Outbound Engine or whatever, anything you're doing, but you need to have something. It's either you're going to be specific in your ad copy and say like this Silver Spring house or this Oakton house, whatever. That way it was intriguing enough for them to click that, and you can start sending them Oakton listings. Or you're going to do it the more passive aggressive way that I'm doing it and just like sending them content and then retargeting them with other ads. Just personal preference.
Yeah.
Yeah, the listing tool, you looked at it once, the Facebook business page, is it good to use them to set up your initial Facebook business page?
Good to use who?
Listing tool.
No, you don't need to like do that. You just go on to my business page or anybody else's business page, a couple other agents, and just take little bits of what they've done. It's very easy. You just go to create a page, and then it's going to say, is this a business or is this a group? You're going to hit, and it's all in here in the slide deck that I sent you guys. You're just going to say it's a business, and then you're going to put in all the details of everything. And I do a mix of personal. I will post, like, if you look at my profile over here, it has like me and my kids and my wife at Christmas. I want people to know I'm a real person. So I'll do some like fun stuff, and I'll do some mix with some houses, you know, and you just try to make it, you know, people get to know you, and they know, like, and trust you, and they see what you're doing. So.
Yeah. Hey, how are you overlapping direct response links onto your geographic farm cards?
So only one now. I had one for Centerville because I was doing like the 6 secrets, and then I had one, but the website address was like a vanity link that I bought, like OaktonHomeValues.com or CentervilleHomeValues.com, and I like sent it into like a direct marketing person just for feedback, and he was like, dude, why do you have a 6 secret thing and then it doesn't have anything about 6 secrets? It's like about Oakton or Centerville, and it's about home value, which the whole reason why you said you were doing the 6 secrets is because people weren't clicking on the home value. So the reason why I'm doing that is if somebody clicks on that and says, like, I want 6 secrets every seller should know, you've already narrowed down the funnel to somebody raising their hand saying, like, I'm going to sell my house in the next 12 months. And then those are the people that you're like, okay, I'm going to send them a CMA and maybe get them little gifts, put them on Client Giant, whatever, because you want to take care of that person because they've raised their hand and say, I'm going to sell my house. And you just want to take really strong care of that person. Put them on something automatic that's going to give them something that you're going to stay top of mind for them. But that when I get that email or that text or phone call for 6 secrets, I do like a full seller book. It has the 6 secrets, but I do the full CMA. I have all the stats, the absorption, everything that I do for a normal seller, and I put that in a FedEx or Priority Mail envelope, and it comes, and they'll call me and say, Dustin, hey, like, because when you do it, whenever you do like Priority Mail or FedEx, it has that like paper, so it's filled out. And before they even open it, a lot of times they'll call me and say, Dustin, like, dude, you didn't have to do all this. I'm like, I'm gonna probably sell my house in a year. And I was like, oh no, it's okay. You know, I promised I would send it in the mail and have it to you within 2 days. So I just wanted to deliver what I promised. And they're like, yeah, but you spent $25 on this. I'm like, well, I told you 2 days and the ad copy. So, you know, you just deliver something that looks official. It just gives a little bit more value.
Are you trying to overlap your 6,000 emails with your geographic postcard farm? Is that your?
I mean, it probably does because my postcards, a lot of my emails are probably from Centerville, from Oakton, from the ads that I've been running over time. So they do overlap. I'm still tinkering the same way that I do with Facebook ads. It's just not as easy to split test things because I'm constantly getting an idea for a postcard or changing some language, and it's expensive for me to change the template a little bit every time. Yeah. So I'm doing a better job of like the language that I want to use. Even though I'm not expecting any leads from it, I'll try like a Facebook ad with like a few different headlines, and before I go having the guy on Fiverr, I spend $20 to have him redesign my postcard. But I'm trying to like decide, you know, if I want to do it every 30 days or every 60 days, because it adds up. I'm doing 5,000 to Oakton and 5,000 to Centerville, and that's 10,000. It's about $3,200 a month that I'm sending. And you know, you do that for a couple months, and you don't get any phone calls, and you're like, start like, ugh.
Right.
But in like my podcast, when I talk about that book, Reality and Advertising, they say it takes 12 times. If they interviewed an audience of 5,000 people that you sent 5,000 postcards to every single month, half of them at 12 months would say, yeah, I know who that person is. I always get their postcards. If they re-interview and survey the same people at 18 months, it's still at 50%, but it's like 25% of the group that didn't know you before and 25% of the people that did. It's crazy. It just stays at 50%. So you just have to keep doing it. And it's a tough business sacrifice, but I took everything out of Zillow and what I was spending on Zillow, the $3,000 a month, and I'm just putting it to postcards because I'm like, you know what? I'd rather get the sellers because probably 30 to 40% of those people are probably going to buy something whether they're downsizing or upsizing. And I just prefer to work with somebody when they have like an advantage of incentive. If I'm listing with them and they can get a discount to then turn around and buy, they're gonna stick with me versus just a rando buyer, like a Zillow lead where I'm like doing the dog and pony show to like try to win them over. You know, just sick of it. Anything else?
Your cards. Do you use the listing to leads formats, or do you use your own?
My what?
Do you use your own private printer, your own different company?
No, I download the PDF and I just upload it to Zairmail. So they print it out, they stuff it for you, they stamp it, they put it on. I might have one here. This is like what it looks like.
Right.
So
I did get one.
I don't like this barcode right here because that screams. So I always test with my wife and I'm like, she does the bills in the house. I'm like, will this look like a bill or not? Would you open this? But it has a first class stamp. It looks valid enough that you would probably open it.
Yeah, yeah.
You think so?
Right, yeah.
And that's the way Zairmail does it. So if you upload the address, they'll send it like that. They'll put the first class stamp on it, and that's what they'll do.
Oh, I've seen.
Yeah, I've okay, so.
So it's basically what I just showed you guys. It's you know, I just sold this. Here's my client's testimonial. You know, you can get a you know, free home valuation, and you know, like if you're ever thinking about selling your house, reach out to me anytime. Or if you're at any real estate question, my advice is always free. And you don't think it works, you'll send out 3 or 4, nothing happens, and then 6 months, 12 months later, somebody will call you and be like, I got your letter in the mail. You know, so you just have to do it consistently and understand that it may not pay off right now, but it'll pay off in the long run. And the just solds are a little bit easier because you can time them with your paycheck. And by the time you get paid, you're normally getting a testimonial, but you guys really have to understand the value and the leverage of the testimonial. And I think that's the biggest hole in everybody's business is when I was brand new, Eric told me, like, it's gonna be too much energy to get everybody to do Google, Yelp, Zillow, this and that. And then I was just getting Zillow. So I have like 80 or 90 Zillow reviews, but I only have like 30 Google reviews because it wasn't until early on that I realized the power of the SEO of the Google review. And then not just that, but the response in the Google review. Like Google will bump you up if they know you're, like every Zillow review you have, every Google review you have, just as important as the actual review is the way that you respond to it. So if you make it seem personal and you're like, you know, Jeff, Susie, oh my God, you know, Centerville is losing one of their best members of their community. Like, it's sad to see you go. Hugs and kisses with the grandkids when you get to Colorado. Reach out to me anytime. You know, it was an honor to be able to earn your trust in your business. Feel free to reach out for any of your real estate leads, Devin and Dustin Fox. And you do something very personal with every single one. When somebody's reading your reviews and everybody else, 90% of them don't even respond to their Zillow reviews, or they don't have any at all, and yours feels personal, they're like, okay, this is the person that from a sincerity standpoint I want selling my house. So, and Google will rank you higher SEO if you respond to your reviews. So, and here's another little random Google SEO tip. If you look at my Google page, I'm now starting to screenshot Zillow reviews. I'm starting to like take photos of my clients at settlement and adding them to my Google page. And the reason is I had no idea until I listened to an SEO podcast. I'm not going to pay anybody to do this, but if you take like whatever market you're trying to get, if you take like I'm trying to get Centerville and Oakton, if you take your image file and like the photo and you email it to yourself and then you rename the photo, you can also do this on file in your iPhone, and you type in, like if you go to a website Keyword Shitter, or you just go to Keyword Google Planner, it's actually called Keyword Shitter, by the way. Yeah. And you type in like Centerville real estate or whatever real estate, you can see what most people are searching for on Google for that term. And then you can see like, okay, it's like 1,000 to 10,000 searches a month is like Centerville, Virginia real estate. So you take your photo and you rename your photo file Centerville, Virginia real estate. They don't see that it says that. but Google knows. So you start doing that with every photo, and I rotate Centerville and Oakton because that's where I'm trying to climb up. And I had no idea that my website wasn't mobile optimized. I had no idea any of these things until I listened to this podcast and I started checking. I went from 50th ranked in Centerville to, like, if you type in Centerville real estate agents now, I'm like the 5th one there. You have to click the more tab, but in like a month of just like thinking about doing it. And just linking everything that you do online, like making sure you have your business, your website, and everything there. Like when you do a listings to lead page, at the bottom put your signature and make it exactly the same. It should be congruent on Facebook, Yelp, Google, everything all the same. And then take that listings to lead website, like the best listing one, because a lot of people are going to go to that when you're running Facebook ads. And there's a website called Pingler, Pingler, and it's like $3 a month. When you put that website, every time you do a new listings to lead landing page for a listing, you put that into Pingler, and then you put it as real estate as a category, and then you're especially if it's in your market, it's going to ping it a bunch of times, and you're going to see within a month you're going to start climbing up. You're never going to beat like Google Realtor, but if somebody says like specifically, best Centerville real estate agent, or best, or Centerville Realtor or Centerville real estate agent, you want to be in that top 3, because very few agents are focusing on the Google and the Yelp reviews. So if you can just make it a process of saying, like, at settlement, you're going to give them an amazing closing gift. And I'm not talking about a cutting board. I'm not talking about a bottle of champagne. You're going to blow them away, and you're going to give them a wow experience the whole time. Like, client this weekend's like, Dustin, I'm going out of town. We're leaving on Friday. The walkthrough's not till Sunday. I don't know anybody. I'm like, the cleaning's already taken care of. I already have them coming Friday night. It's already paid for. Don't worry about it. I'm like, oh my God, you're a godsend. When we go to the settlement on Friday, I'm going to give them an amazing gift, and they're going to say, Dustin, we just don't know how to thank you. We wouldn't have been able to do this without you. Like, there's actually a way. Like if you can do me a huge favor, reviews are such a huge, important part of my business, because if I didn't have them, I would not be able to get the word out. So I'm going to send you an email. If you have time, please, just leave me the review on Zillow. It's going to have a template with like a couple other sites. If you guys really love me as much as you said you did, you're going to copy and paste this review on Yelp, like what I tell them. And when you're giving them the gift, they're going to do it, and they're busy, they're moving, they're going to forget. And then you just give them a call. It's better over the phone than like sending an email, because I will tell them in person to give me all 5s. And a lot of agents that's really uncomfortable for. They're like, ugh, you're going to ask for all 5s? And this is just, well, no, it's just like, it goes back from like when I was managing a Pottery Barn and managing Bed Bath & Beyond. Like, when you go to a retailer and they have the surveys and then they circle it, I always had the highest customer service scores in my stores, because I would train my employees. I want you to, like, your awareness level needs to be like Ritz-Carlton. Like, if you go to a Ritz-Carlton and they know what you're thinking before you think it, like, that's the type of service you need to give in real estate and with your clients, regardless of industry. So they know, like, I'm not going to ask for a review unless I already know they're going to be okay with me requesting a 5-star review. You got to tell them, because Zillow will tell them, and I'll tell them this. I say, don't let Zillow trick you. They'll say, like, do 4 stars in one category. It'll make it look more authentic. That'll crush my business. So you got to tell them, and whether you think that's right or what's wrong, it's the best way to handle it. But you got to make sure, you got to know that your clients are really happy to be able to do that. But you do that enough, you respond to your Google reviews, you add photos to your Google page, and suddenly, before you know it, the guy that's been selling your neighborhood that has, 50 listings a year in your subdivision, you have more Google reviews than them, and then you start slowly chipping away at his penetration. So.
Thank you.
Any questions you guys have, call Mike Wagner. He's the expert.